So did you ever think that you would inspire so many people?
During that time, brother, my main focus was, let's see how much of an influence I can actually be. Wasn't so much about inspiring at that time, because I had to grow to that point in life where I actually knew what my worth was, knew that I was pretty much chosen to do this, and just go with it, not stand back. And I had a conversation with Ken Stabler before he passed about that very subject matter at the Hilton in Oakland. And when he pulled me to the side, we were at a party, pregame stuff. He pulled me to the side, which was odd to me. The snake wants to say something to me. What he laid on me, brother, changed my whole outlook on what I do today. He says, listen, I've been watching you since you started doing that. He says, do you realize you're carrying a torch? And if I can say this on air, he said, carry that effing torch high, because a lot of people are watching you and looking up to what you're doing. And that kind of just pulled the curtains back. And like I say, Violator was reborn in the way that you see him today with a whole different purpose. And like I say, that's to be a positive influence, visually as intimidating as possible, but there's a whole different core to it, and I call it layers.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Hello, Raider Nation. Welcome back to Monday Nights Live, the Santa Maria Parade Edition. I'm Raider Homer, and I have 4 more great guests lined up for tonight's show. So, let's go over how Monday Nights Live works. It's structured like a football game, but instead of 4 quarters, we have 4 callers. We break for the halftime show after the second caller, and during the halftime show, we will hear from the viewers and Raider musicians. And this week, we are hearing songs from Big Mac, 4Dub. Hey, and let's take another listen to Raiderhead's new song, Viva Los Raiders. Alright, kicking off tonight's show is little Chucky Gruden and his mom Sylvia. And our second caller is the Mistress of the Black Hole. Alright, now after our second caller is the phone blitz. It'll kick off the halftime show, and I'm looking forward to that. That's one of my favorite segments on the show. Alright, now kicking off the second half of the show is Polo Rodriguez, aka Fireman 4, president of the Black Hole Santa Maria chapter. And our fourth and final caller, y'all, man, I'm excited to say, is Coach Tom Flores, 4-time Super Bowl champ and Raider legend. That's right, Raider Nation, Coach Tom Flores. Man, I cannot wait to share what he has to say with you, Raider Nation. Alright, now providing backup for tonight's show is Captain Jack Rackham Levy. Make sure you subscribe to Captain Jack's YouTube channel. Hey, and the new episode of the Raider Invasion podcast is out now, so go check it out at the RaiderHomerChannel.buzzsprout.com. And don't forget to listen to the Only Nation podcast with me and Heidi Stabbert, aka Kevlar Prom Dress, as well as T3 Raider Facts. You can find the Only Nation podcast on all your favorite podcast/music apps. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Raider Homer channel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and right here on the YouTube. Right here on YouTube, so you don't miss these interviews live. Blitzers, get your calls in by 8 o'clock CST, or you can leave your shout-outs in the live chat, and I'll read those in between callers. Alright, let me know if you would like to order one of the Raider Homer Shield patches for $10. That's right, Raider Nation, they're back. Just message me on any of my social media accounts, and I'll get your order squared away. Now, this week's mailbag. Oh man, this is going to take a minute, so we better get started. Now, please don't be mad if I say this wrong, but I got an excellent patch from Warrior Yachty, or Warriorette. I think it's that one. I'm sorry if I murdered your name. Please forgive me. I tried to contact you, but this is a great patch. One of my favorite. My daughter fell in love with this when she saw it too. So she wants this on her jersey. So I appreciate the love. All right. We also got a patch from the Raider Menaces. That's a pretty cool patch. 2 shields in one. That's pretty cool. I like that. Thanks a lot. And we also got our patch from Arizona Raider Nation. Man, this is a great patch too, y'all. I cannot wait to put this on my jersey. It looks real good. And they also sent me a koozie. Man, that's good because I like drinking beer. Appreciate it, y'all. All right, man. Raider Squid. He sent my daughter a care package. That's what's up, Raider Nation. I love that. Thank you. Bunch of stickers. He sent her a patch and then an extra patch. I think I'm going to claim this one, though, bro. Sorry. But that's a nice little letter. Dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. All right, and speaking of letters, Kaylee, I got your letter. Sophia was super stoked that you wrote her more than you wrote me. That's all right, though. I'll keep writing you. It's okay. All right. Also, man, Raider Nation for life, baby. That's right. That's right. Compa Fabian sent me this patch right here. Marty Mar patch. Get it. Get it, Raider Nation. This is an awesome patch right here. And if you don't know about the compas, you better ask somebody. He also sent his new patch, the Lifer patch. This is a great looking patch too. Highly detailed. Very thick. Solid patch. High quality. Alright, we also got a face mask from Chucky Studs. Man, these come in handy these days. You know what I mean, Raider Nation? So hit them up. Get you a nice little face mask. They also sent a cool shirt. It's the Vegas emblem that they made. So I appreciate it, Chucky Studs. Much love, y'all. All right, now my boy, my boss. He sent me a sticker. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. He sent me the My Boss shirt. Man, y'all. Man, you know my boss. He does some great things for the Raider Nation. Every time he comes on this channel, he tells you about it. So make sure you hit him up. You can also get his koozie too. Right? Hey, and don't forget to hit up Wayne for the V57s. All right, cool. Now, be sure to hit up all the people from this week's mailbag to get some Raider Nation merch of your own. And thanks for showing me some Raider love, Raider Nation. All right. Also, don't forget to check out Retired Players Congress at playerscongress.com to get some awesome officially licensed merchandise that directly benefits the men who made the game. You can ask Polo all about the Players Congress, and we will ask him later when he comes on the show. All right, you can also contact Polo to purchase one of Otis McKinney's autographed items signed by Raider legends. Man, Polo, man, guys, he's the one to go to. He knows the players. He's always repping the Raider Nation and being a great ambassador. So I'm excited to bring the Santa Maria Parade edition to you, Raider Nation. So, with all that being said, let's get to the callers. All right, Raider Nation. All right, Raider Nation. Here we go. We have them live on the line. Sylvia and little Chucky Gruden. How y'all doing tonight? Raiders! Oh, man, I'm so excited, man. It's nice to have y'all on. Thank you both for coming on the Raider Homer channel. It's always an honor to have the future of the Raider Nation on the channel.
Thank you.
Thank you to you.
Oh man, dude. All right, cool. So, Sylvia, let's start this off with you because during our first conversation, I found out that you yourself are a super fan. You were telling me about, how your dad took you to the games and things like that. So let's get into that. Every Raider fan has a story, and I love sharing people's story here on the Raider Homer channel. So how does the story of your fandom begin?
Well, okay, Reader Homer. So my dad wanted boys, and when he got two girls, he sat us down and we watched all the sports that he did. We didn't really know any better, and playing with Barbies wasn't even an option. Yet my dad never put us into sports, which was kind of weird. I don't even know how to throw a football. And when the Raiders moved to Los Angeles, he went to a game with two of my uncles, and then after that, he took my sister and I, and we were hooked. My dad was even so lucky as to go to the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay in 1983. And crazy
Ooh.
how we were like, yeah, and crazy how we were the underdogs, right? And we didn't even stand a chance, and yet we came out as Super Bowl champs. Sadly, though, we didn't get to go with him. And to this day, believe it or not, my sister and I, we still haven't forgiven him for not taking him with us, for not taking us with him.
I bet. I bet. Hey, Dad, you remember that one time you went to the Super Bowl without us?
Yes,
Thanks.
I know.
You're talking about L.A. and how your dad was at the Super Bowl, and I have a podcast called the L.A. Years, and I love hearing from the L.A. Raider Nation. I became a fan when the Raiders were in L.A. And so, like you said, your dad, he took you to a lot of games. But weren't y'all season ticket holders?
Yes, we were. For one of my birthdays, I got three season tickets for the Raider season, and it was 1991. So, of course, the first thing I asked my dad was, did I get to pick who came with me? And he right away, he like stopped me and he was like, no, this is my ticket, this is your ticket, and this is your sister's. So I was like, darn it. But those were some of the best times of my life, going to see them play at the Coliseum. My favorite Raider of all time is Marcus Allen, and it was just the best, just seeing them at the Coliseum. So, yes.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it there. I was too young back then to go, but I'm talking about when, because the Chargers were playing there too, right? And then we'll get into that later, but that's, I wish I would have been able to go over there here recently and seen the Raiders play in LA. But I will be going to the new stadium
Yeah.
in the future for sure.
Oh, perfect. SoFi. Oh, that's going to be very nice. Our second home.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, so, I mean, how did you feel when they moved back to Oakland?
Oh, I was crushed when they left back to Oakland. My dad sat us down and told us that the PSL was too much and we weren't going to be able to get season tickets going to Oakland. And I cried. I was so sad. Even right now, like just when I think about it, because I just have so much love and I'm just passionate about the Raiders, like I tear up. So it was just sad because it was like a ritual. I'd get up, I'd get ready, I'd go to my parents, and then my sister, my dad, and I, we took off to the Coliseum. After the games, we came back, ate dinner, and then we watched the highlights on the 6 o'clock news. And then after that, I would go home and I'd just count down the days and the hours, like to our next home game or to our next game, because I always went to my parents to watch the game. So after they left, oh my gosh, I was so crushed. My Sundays were never the same.
Oh, I bet. Now here we are again, right? They're getting ready to move, so the Oakland Raider Nation is
Yes,
feeling the same way, man. So,
yes,
so how many
yes.
games were you able to attend in Oakland?
I would usually try and go two, sometimes three times a year. I
Since
would try and go. If it was, I would have loved to have gotten season tickets, but it would have just been me. Which now I think about it, I'm like, man, it wouldn't have been so bad. But yeah, so I just would try and always go 2 to 3 times a year. I would pick the games that I want to go to and be there. So yes.
So I mean, what's the difference? Compare and contrast, I guess. The L.A. Raider Nation and the Oakland Raider Nation, because those tailgates in Oakland were legendary, right?
Oh my God, there ain't no party like an Oakland Raider tailgate party. Those were the best. And in Oakland, it was just, to me, it was a different feel. In Los Angeles, not that I don't have any love for Los Angeles and my Raiders because I did, but it was a shame because It was always half Raiders and half the team they were playing. It was never a full stadium filled with Raider fans. But when I went to Oakland and watched them there, oh my gosh, the difference! The whole stadium was silver and black. It was amazing. When we lost, Oakland still was behind the Raiders, and when we won, the same thing. And it was a shame because in LA, if we won, woohoo, and if we lost, it was like, forget the Raiders and so on and so forth. But it was, it was there's no party like, I mean, Oakland was, man, they loved their Raiders.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got a taste of that Oakland flavor, man, and I just want to help spread it around, cook it up over here in Austin, you know, because man, it was
Yes,
great. It was great. All right,
it was
so
the best.
oh yeah. So when does your story become child's play with Julian becoming a Raider fan?
Well, it didn't actually start out that way. Child's play hadn't even crossed my mind just yet. But when he was born, I couldn't wait to share sports with him, especially my Raiders. And like when football season came around, I would get us ready and we would sit and watch the games. And then it's funny, I would try explaining, as best as I could to him, even though I knew he wasn't really listening to me or paying attention. But when when the games were on and when I got upset, he would get upset. And when I yelled, he would yell. And then when I would cheer, he would too. It was so funny. And then when we made the touchdown, I would get up and run around like a maniac around the house, screaming and yelling and Raiders, and Julian would follow. So it was pretty awesome just to share that with him.
Chucky.
Oh, yes, okay. And then, so I took him to his first game in October of 2017. And even though he was 2 years old, he had a great time cheering on the Raiders in person. I know he probably won't remember much from that day, but it's a day that I will treasure forever because we were there and I was like finally able to go with him to a Raider game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I took my daughter to her first Raider game in Oakland in 2018, and she's not a diehard football fan. She loves the Raiders and the Raider Nation, like Jersey. Always helps her out, and Captain's always talking to her. And she just loves it. But it was a special thing. I get to tell her, you can always say that you saw a game in Oakland. So it's a great thing to
Yes,
take your children, to these football games and let them experience this great environment
yes,
that is the Raider Nation.
yes, it is.
All right, now Julian, I got a question for you. You ready, bud?
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Everybody loves your outfit, man. Everybody loves a little Chucky Gruden outfit.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, but no problem, bro. But
Because
you,
I'm the
yeah, for sure, brother, for
Oh
sure.
my goodness.
All right, but you didn't always dress up as little Chucky Gruden, right? At first. So tell the Raider Nation what you dressed up as before you became little Chucky Gruden.
best. A skeleton.
You were a skeleton? Man, that fits perfect in the
Yeah.
Raider Nation, right?
Yes, somebody with skull and crossbones.
A throwing crossbones.
Boom, man. Did you take a lot of pictures?
Yes, I did a lot of pictures.
That's awesome, bud. Man, that's cool.
Thank you.
All right, so Sylvia, you were telling me a funny story about how y'all talked to Raider fans on the way to the hotel.
Oh my goodness.
Hotels are my favorite.
Oh yes, he loves going to hotels.
That's cool.
So yes, we went to the last game in Oakland. I had to be there. It was almost like I just had to say my goodbyes, and I had to be there. So we went, and it was so funny because that's when no, this was the other one when I dressed him up, and we were in the bus to go to our hotel.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because that's the time, I'm sorry, he was dressed as a skeleton. So they were all saying hello to him and, oh, you're a skeleton, and so on and so forth. And he was talking to some of the Raider fans. So it was so funny. He asked one of the Raider fans that I was sitting next to, do you know our coach, John Gruden? And so the gentleman said, yes. John Gruden, our coach? And he said, yes. And he says, get the fucking ball. I said, Julian. and everybody laughed in the bus but me. Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I said no, and I thought, and so it was so funny because the gentleman he was talking to said, yeah, that seems to be our coach's favorite word. Oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed, and I just told them, oh, I shouldn't have had him watch Hard Knocks as much as I did. But yes, I could not believe it. So yes, that was a little embarrassing. I can laugh about it now, but I sure wasn't laughing when it would happen. But everybody else was.
Hey, he's a true Raider. He's a true Raider.
Oh my goodness, he sure is.
Okay, so we know who inspired Julian to dress up like little Chucky Gruden. So tell the Raider Nation the story about when it all came together as far as him becoming little Chucky Gruden.
So that now back to wanting to be there in Oakland at the last game, and I just had to pay my respects. I just had to be there because it was the end of an era, and I thought, oh man, just hearing like the announcers and everybody, like once he came back to us in 2018, how he resembled Chucky and the faces that he made and so on and so forth. So it wasn't until, like I said, watching the games on the TV and hearing the announcers comment about it that it hit my brain. And I said, oh my gosh, we're going to the last game in Oakland to dress Julian up as Chucky, but Gruden style. So I got what I needed and I tried it on him. And it's funny, I showed my husband, and although he isn't a Raider fan, but he does support me, he kind of understood the concept, but, not really. And I just said, oh, well, I'm just going to go with it. And I dressed myself up in my Derek Carr number 4 jersey shirt, and Julian dressed up as little Chucky, and we went to the game, and the rest is history.
Mommy, not.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't get to make it to the last game. I wanted to. I just couldn't make it, though. But I did make it to the first game that year in 2019, the home opener. Man, I had a blast. And I got to be a part of the flag unfurling. Jersey snuck me into the black hole. And to top it all off, we
that's
won.
The best.
Yeah, I mean, it was a trip. I came home and I found footage of me. I just looked for Jersey's Mohawk. I talk about it a lot, but I mean, that was something that was really special to me. I didn't get to experience Oakland as much as I wish I would have, but I did get on that field, and it was amazing looking up and looking around. I was like, wow, I was in awe. And then, running on the field, it was amazing.
Oh, wow. And did you with your hand, did you feel the grass?
Well, no, but Jersey got some dirt out of there. She took some dirt off the field. I started laughing. She hit it in her jersey. Oh, man, it was hilarious. It's like, oh, so that's why you called Dirty Jers, huh? And she started laughing. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I mean, what's the Raider Nation's response to little Chucky Gruden?
When we went to the game, it was amazing. I had no idea that it was going to get the response that it did. I wasn't ready for it, to tell you the truth, Homer. I knew getting there to the stadium, I had 3 things in mind that I wanted to do that game. I wanted to take a picture with Gorilla Rilla. I wanted to go down like you, sneak into the black hole, or just, take a picture before the game. And then I was hoping that Julian would end up on the Jumbotron. So when we arrived in Oakland and took the BART into the stadium, people, when they saw little Chucky, it was like, Chucky, Chucky, and just picture after picture after picture. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to make it to the black hole party because I had seen everything, on Facebook and everything. And I'm never going to make it there because we would start to walk and somebody would come and say, Chucky, and can I take a picture? And little Chucky here just got a kick out of everything. And he's all, of course. And he would take a picture, and it was amazing. And then I finally made it over to the black hole party at our game as well. We were talking about earlier, our second home. And it was funny because I wasn't going to dress him up as Chucky Gruden for that game. I don't know. I just assumed, or it was just for Oakland. I had no idea. But it was so funny when I told him we were going to go to the game again, and I took his shirt out and, jeans. He's like, Mommy, why am I not putting on little Chucky? And I was like, oh, okay. So I put it on, and again, we went to the game, and it was the same. It's almost like people were like, were you at the game last weekend? Or, oh, Chucky, or was he on the Jumbotron? And I was like, yeah, and it was the same thing. Amazing. They wanted to take pictures with him as well. So I thought, oh my goodness, little Chucky has been born.
Yeah, child's play. That's cool.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great look. That costume. You nailed it, And then you do. I guess that's face
Oh,
paint,
thank
right? I
you.
mean, that's awesome. Like I said,
Yeah,
you're a
it's the,
super fan yourself.
oh, thank you.
All right, so tonight's episode was put together with the help of Polo Rodriguez, aka Fireman 4, president of the Black Hole Santa Maria chapter. And since the parade's May 30th date was rescheduled, we are bringing the parade to the Raider Nation. So tell us how you met Polo Rodriguez, and are you attending the Santa Maria parade on September 26th?
Yes, we will definitely be there. Was sad to hear that it had to be postponed due to everything that has been going on, but we will definitely be there in September. And I met Polo, or Julian and I both met Polo at the first game of the season last year when he was dressed as a skeleton. We were cheering them on, and we were sitting. Julian and I were at the last row of our section, and Polo happened just to come down, and he was like standing there next to Julian. And he ended up started talking to us. He was talking to Julian, was surprised that Julian was talking to him in Spanish. And he took us down to the field, and we took some pictures, or field that, down as close to the field where the rows are. And that's how it started. And then the funny thing is, then going to the last game of the season, I started getting all these friend requests, and I had seen Polo in some of the pictures. And so I asked, I said, oh, let me see if I can ask him to be a friend. And so I did, and he accepted my friend request, and God bless him. I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't think I'm a stalker. So I emailed him right away, and I said, I promise you, I'm not stalking you. And, and I said, we met you at the first game. My son was dressed as a skeleton, and I sent him a picture. Gosh, yes, I remember. And then he told me also that he saw little Chucky. He said, my God, little Chucky. Well, he said, your son is all over my news feed. And I was like, oh, yay. So that's how we got to know Polo. And yeah, he's a great guy. He's really great. You like Polo?
Yeah.
Yes. How did you meet Polo? You were dressed as a skeleton?
A skeleton, yeah.
Yes. And you were talking to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, Polo is a great ambassador for the Raider Nation.
Yes.
Like I said, he's helped me put together the last couple, the list of guests that I've been having here recently. The football players and things like that, and Coach Flores coming on tonight. So yeah, Polo is a great ambassador of the Raider Nation, and I'm happy to know him. Hey, but talk a little bit about, before I let you go, talk a little bit about that dance video. Remember
the day.
Hello?
The dance video that Julian did,
yeah.
Homer?
Yeah.
We were, it was going around Facebook, and then I guess if they, called you out, you had to do a dance challenge. And so we got called out by Gonzalo Gonzalez, and I was like, okay. So I told Julian, okay, you got called out, let's do a dance video. So I kind of tried to figure out what songs, I guess that kind of went with the Raiders, or from the times that I went to the games. And Whoomp There It Is was a really big one when I would go to the games, and when we'd make a touchdown, they'd play that song. And then, of course, Blow the Whistle, because it was in Oakland. So I put those two together, and, of course, Julian with his awesome, so to speak, dance moves. And we did it. And the funny thing is, after I got an email from, I guess they must have had a committee or something, and he ended up winning for the kids category. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I thought, oh, that's great. But he had a good time. You had a good time dancing?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they won.
Oh, yes.
The Raiders won, right, Mommy?
Yes, the Raiders won.
I was in that video, I think the Raiders Sing video, where we were passing the football, and then I threw the football up, and then Chucky got it from the ground, and little Chucky, and he threw it to Double G.
Yeah.
So yeah,
yes,
we were in a video together.
We did that one too. Yes, we did that one too. We were going to go meet Gonzalo Double G, And he says, "Hey, I'm going to have little Chucky throw the ball to me." So I said, "Oh, okay." And it's funny. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then not realizing after, I was like, "Oh my gosh, we got that ball from Raider Homer. He gives it to Double G, and we are in this video." So it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I love the way the Raider
You know,
Nation has been, staying together through this quarantine and just kind of lightening up the mood.
Yes, yes. I think it's great because this is what we need to
Oh
get
yeah.
through this.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on the channel. Before I let you go though, tell the Raider Nation how to find y'all on social media.
On social media, you can find me on my Facebook. I know I should, and I probably eventually will open up a Facebook page for Little Chucky, but for right now, you can look me up. My name, Sylvia Menchaca Segura. So it's Sylvia Menchaca Segura. And then Julian also does have an Instagram. It is called Adventures of Julian and Estrella. And Estrella is my little dog. She's my little Shih Tzu. So I kind of do their little world and the adventures that they have. So that is. And then he also has Julian. Also has TikTok, and that one is Juju on that TikTok.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on.
Yes.
You have a good one, Julian. It was nice talking to you.
yeah, thank you.
Raiders!
Go Raiders!
Oh yeah.
Go Raiders!
Woo! Getting me fired up.
That was a loud one.
All right, cool. All right, thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you, Homer.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you so much, Raider Homer.
Thank you. We'll get y'all back on here in the future, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cool. Y'all have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Thank you.
Go Raiders!
Go Raiders.
Bye.
Bye. Oh man, that's great. Oh. All right, Raider Nation. Man, little Chucky, Raider, and Sylvia. Man, what a great story. I love hearing great stories like that. Make sure you find them on social media. Give them a like. Give them some support. That's a great story. I am so happy to bring them. So let's go ahead and check out the chat line. For some reason, I'm unable to connect to the chat after a little while, so I don't know what's going on. But shout out to Raider Squid, Jason Hunter, T3 Sports Guy, Captain Jack Rackham, also Mike Serra, and that's it, bro. That's all I can see, bro. So I appreciate the chat line showing up. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to Mistress of the Black Hole. All right, Raider Nation, here she is, Mistress of the Black Hole. Mistress, thanks for coming on the Raider Homer channel. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and share your story with the Raider Nation.
Of course. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Not a problem at all. As I've said before, it's always nice to hear from the LA Raider Nation. You know, I've had Wayne on to talk about the LA years, so it's going to be cool to hear about the LA years from your perspective.
Absolutely.
All right, so tell me what it was like growing up in LA with the Raiders in town, and how did you become a fan?
When I was young, when I was in second grade, we had a couple of the Raiders visit Morningside Elementary in San Fernando. And my brother was in sixth grade, so he actually got to take a picture with them because it was the graduating class. And that was the first time I ever saw this big old flag and it said commitment to excellence. I was like, oh, that's cool. And this was, I was in second grade. So then my parents would always take me to the Disney Ice-Capades over in downtown LA. And that's where the Coliseum was, and that's where the Raiders were playing. And one time when we were going into the Ice-Capades, I looked to the left and I see all silver and black, mostly blacked out Raiders. And I'm like, that's cool. And since then, I ended up becoming a big USC fan. You're going to laugh, but my last name's in Trojans. I would take the T and the N off, so I would say Rojas. I would always cover up the T and the N with my sweaters, like different colors. It was pretty funny. Anyhow, so, but I won't discredit my ex-husband. He's the one that actually turned me on to the Raiders. He's a diehard Raider fan, and also from San Fernando. And because of him, I would always buy the Raider gear for him and the toys and everything. So that's how I became a big Raider fan, like just hardcore the way I am now. So definitely won't discredit him. So thank you, Julian.
That's cool. Now,
I'll give credit where credit's due.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I wish I could say that if I took my daughter to the Ice-Capades, she would be a little more interested in the Raiders if she saw them over there, but I'm not sure that would happen. So that's cool that, you know, you were interested in that, in the Raiders. And especially considering how much
young, you know.
Yeah, well, especially considering, that you were young and you are, you know, into the Disney princesses, and, you know, you do those videos and things like that where you're trying to lighten up the mood for the Raider Nation. So that's kind of cool.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Certainly trying.
All right, so you were telling me that you like to cosplay, which is one of the reasons I love the Raider Nation events. The first thing I thought when I went to my first Raider event was, this is like being at a Comic-Con or a Renaissance festival. People dressing up, vendors, music, etc. Everyone was just sharing in their passion for the Raiders. So what were some of the events that you would cosplay at?
I would go, well, I still do go to the Monster Paloozas, the Son of Monster Palooza, usually wherever Elvira is, and I usually go. I'll dress up like her, and I'll go, and I usually take a lot of my stuff for her to sign, pictures and stuff for her to sign, my purses, everything that I have of hers, which I've been her fan since I was a little girl. I mean, I don't even know how my parents wouldn't make me turn the TV off at midnight when she was on. So my black hair, everything I've always is because. So going to those events and dressing up and people wanting to take pictures with me when she's like right next to me, I was like, what the heck? She's a real virus. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, you walk around and you see I'm a huge Halloween fanatic. So me dressing up as Elvira many, many years already, probably 15 years, I think it's been that I've been dressing up like her and cosplaying her. And now I go to the events and she recognizes me, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So once again, just dressing up like that. And like I said, Halloween and then Raiders, it was like a Halloween event every Sunday for me too. So it was like football, Raiders, you know, Elvira, it was all the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, every day is Halloween in the Raider Nation, and that suits you fine.
Right?
You know, I got to meet...
it's funny.
Go ahead.
No, it's funny because at my work, some people will come in and they'll be like, oh, talk to the girl. She's the one that dresses up like Elvira. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, so many people don't even know my name. They're like, just the one Mistress. She's the one that dresses up like Elvira. Just talk to her. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, my mom used to watch that show. I was terrified watching that show, though.
Really? Oh, I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I have her videos. I watch them all the time. I'm one of those that can like repeat stuff over and over and over. That's me.
Yeah. Oh, so that's how you were able to basically reenact the Pippi Longstocking video that you made, huh?
Exactly. Like there's sometimes my kids are like, "Mom, how do you come up with these things?" I go, "I have no idea. It just comes up to me, and I just do it." And it's like videos that I've cosplayed of Elvira. Like right before I went to go see her, I did a video that I have on my Facebook, and it was her Haunted Hills one, and I did the whole costume of hers, and no one's ever done that costume when they've gone to visit her. So that one was pretty cool because she was like, "Do you have the applause on the underwear?" I'm like, "I do." So we did a whole skit with her there at one of the Monster Paloozas. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got to meet
Yeah.
Stan Lee one time. That was real cool. I love Marvel Comics. And that's something we could talk about because
See,
you're involved with them in a way. So we'll get to that later, though. But yeah, it's awesome being able to meet the people that, you know, influenced you as a child or, provided you with something to
absolutely.
keep you entertained through the years,
Right, right. Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
you were talking about being a USC fan earlier. Now and you were also in our previous conversations telling me that you grew up with a lot of brothers. So I take it that's a USC family you got going on over there.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, one of my brothers is a big Notre Dame fan. So every time we would watch the games, he was Notre Dame, and especially when SC would fight the Irish. I mean, I go to the games all the time, and it was the best. Like it's just one of those. It's all about love here, but SC against Notre Dame was always awesome to see.
And so, I mean, I guess you remember you're a Marcus Allen fan, right? Because of him being a
I'm a
USC player.
huge Marcus Allen, number 32. Yeah, absolutely. He is, because of SC, and then being the Raiders, it was like, oh man, that was to me he's my favorite player. Definitely my favorite player. That Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. Well, I like the other Heisman runner that played with him in the backfield, Bo. But man, that was a
Bo
great
Jackson.
backfield. That was a great
Yeah.
backfield.
34. It's funny. I was at Magic Mountain one time with some friends back in the 90s. And you know how they did those cartoon figurines that they used to draw? Well, he's like, I want Bo Jackson. And he did the body. The body was like the baseball player of an Angels player. And then the helmet was rated out. And it said number 32. It said Bo knows.
That's
I'll
cool.
never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, do you remember Bo when he played in LA as a baseball
Yeah.
player? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get to
The
see any of
Angels. That
those?
seems like
Yeah.
94, I think it was.
Yeah.
93, 94, something like that. Yeah. No, yeah, one of my brothers, a huge baseball fan, and obviously Dodgers, but he, especially when, that was the only time I always knew, I'm like, what? I'm like, a football player playing baseball? Like, I didn't get it at the time. Now, of course, I do. But yeah, Bo knows. Bo knows it all, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I think it's cool that you went from LA to the Bay and now to Vegas, right? But before we get into the Vegas move, talk about the legendary Oakland tailgates.
Man, those Oakland tailgates, the black hole. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. I mean, I was fortunate enough to tailgate them for 2 seasons. They're amazing. I don't think they could be replicated. It's one of those things that, I mean, I hope we'll have something like that in Vegas, but man, this Oakland was just this, I don't know. It's like, it even gives me the chills right now to think about it. They were just awesome. The family vibe, the friend vibe, like just people that you didn't even know would come up to you. And it was a big old family. And I mean, I hope we have that in Vegas, but we'll see. But those tailgates were absolutely part of the best day, when you go and you look forward to that Sunday. It'd be like, obviously I would fly there. So I would take an early flight on that Sunday morning and go to the tailgate and then go to the game and fly right back out. So it was very, very exciting for me. It was awesome, though. Those tailgates are something else that I can't even explain. If you didn't experience it, I'm sad because
Yeah.
they were the best.
Yeah.
They were the absolute best.
I'm glad I got to go see the tailgates in Oakland. It was something special,
Yeah.
man. It was amazing. Yeah, like you talk about the family environment,
That's
it was
exactly.
special.
Exactly.
But
Yeah,
I feel like with
absolutely.
Cisco in Vegas, and some of the other guys that are in Vegas, that Oakland flavor is gonna be there. It's not gonna be the same, but it's gonna be as best as it can be.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I'm glad that Cisco moved there. And a lot of other people that are there. Obviously Vegas is closer to me and wherever they go, I'm gonna go. But yes, I definitely think we'll definitely have a huge fan base that's still from Oakland. Um, but I really do hope that it's the same. But I mean, Oakland's gonna be Oakland. Like
Yeah.
LA was LA. You just ain't gonna You're not gonna replicate exactly what they had. But hopefully we can make the best of it.
Right. We all know how the Oakland Raider Nation feels about the Vegas move for the most part. But how has the LA fan base reacted to the Vegas move?
You know what? I have a lot of friends and family that we're happy about it. But like we all say, where do they go? Oakland, LA, Vegas. Raider fans are Raider fans. You're going to be a Raider fan no matter what. It's not about where they're going to be. It's where they're going to be, they're going to be. You're just going to go and you're going to always support. You're a Raider fan, you're a Raider fan. That's just the way it goes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, I became a Raider fan when they were in L.A. And so I
Hmm.
watched them move to Oakland in '95, and now they're moving to Vegas. But I'm always gonna be a Raider, and no matter what. But Oakland
No matter
was
what.
awesome.
Exactly. No matter what. It's like silver and black. It's that's just the way it's gonna be. It's not, and whether 10 years from now they say they're gonna leave Vegas to go somewhere, I'm gonna follow.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna stop being a Raider fan just because of where they go. I mean, we have our home games, but we're around the world all the time.
yeah.
We've gone to London games, we've got wherever we go. We're gonna follow. I'm gonna follow. My family and friends, they can't wait. They're like, it's close to us. We get both of both worlds. We could gamble. We go watch a Raider game. We could go have fun. I think it's gonna be crazy, but I'm excited.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, I was hoping to go to the draft, but of course, COVID messed all that up. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
excited. Are you gonna try to make it to the Monday night game versus the Saints?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that they will have it, and if they do, I will definitely be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make that one. I'll have to take Monday and Tuesday off, but man, I'm ready to do that.
Exactly.
I'm ready to
I'll
do
be
that.
flying back that Tuesday morning straight to work. My work is literally right behind the Burbank Airport, so they'll pick me up.
Cool.
I'll go straight to work. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we got the chance to meet at the 2019 kickoff party, and that was one hell of a party, man. So talk about what being a part of the Black Hole means to you.
Uh, to me, it's family. Main thing. That's no matter what. It's you say anything about the black hole negatively. We just don't do that, and we don't talk about other members. If we hear about it, you're gonna be out. We're a family, and we don't do that. We're united. We love to be all together when we all have our little get-togethers. And the black hole from different states, countries. It's an amazing feeling because you just feel like you're connected around the world with these people that have become family. And it's an absolutely amazing feeling that I've had ever since I've joined them. And obviously, I'm very close to Cisco, and I can say, Rilla, Wayne, all of them, that I've become so close to them. And it's just a feeling that I can't even explain because I know they have my back no matter what.
Yeah.
And I will always have theirs. And that's what family does.
Amen to that. Yeah, Max introduced me to Polo, Michael, Ronnie, Sammy, and pretty much everybody.
Yes.
Cisco, and Cisco helped me out by helped me out getting the Black Hole chapter here in Austin.
Nice.
And all the people that I listed gave me advice through the process. So it really is a family, and they do have your back. They give you advice. They call you just to say, hey, what's up? It's like it's a special thing to be a
Absolutely.
part of.
Absolutely. Especially on the daily basis, I talk to Cisco. Polo, I talk to him all the time. Mike, Ronnie, he's an 818 from San Fernando. So, I mean, all these guys and their wives, and just like I said, we become this big family where I love it. I love it. It's not just football season. It's throughout the whole year that we're getting together. You know, I can't wait for the Santa Maria parade, because today, a year ago, we were there, and you know, unfortunately, because of COVID, we couldn't do it last month, but we're hoping in September that we get to do it, and I can't wait to be with everybody again. And just, even though it's a 2.5 hour drive for me, it's worth it. I go and I know I'm going to have a good time with my family.
Well, just FYI, I'm having an event August 15th here in Austin, Texas, if you can make it. You know, so that'd be kind of
August
cool.
15th?
Yeah, in Austin, at the South Austin Beer
Okay,
Garden.
yeah, as long as everything's open and we're good to go, I'll fly out there, no problem.
Oh, that's cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, cool. So you were just talking about how you have a very cool job, and you know, so talk about how you help provide movie studios with some cool cars to use on their sets.
Yeah, so obviously I had wrote a story not too long ago about why I got into the business. I wanted to meet The Rock, and I did. I was a stalker back then, man. I used to watch everything he was on. Like, I was obsessed with him. I mean, I even had his toothbrush. I still have his toothbrush now. I don't use it, but it's there.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I collected everything of his, and just everything, and then reading his book and seeing, you know, he did have, that's why his production company is called $7 Production. He had $7 to his name when he was in college. So he went through it all. So when I read that, and when I was going through what I was going through, I'm like, wow, it was an inspiration to me. And so I wanted to meet him. And so I gave myself 2 years. I quit my job at Ford and gave myself 2 years. And months later, I mean, I met one of my friends. He knew a guy that owned a company that rented all the cars to the movies. And I went to the police station. He was a detective. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job. I want to take some time off into the movie industry. And he told me about his friend. He called them and they hired me on the spot. So just renting the cars to the movies, you know, one guy came in and they were doing a rock movie. And I'm like, oh my God, can you give me an autograph? He's like, how about you come to set and meet him? I'm like, what? So from there, I met a bunch of people. They got me in the business. So I got in the business, and now I work with him. So 17 years later, I've done about 5-6 movies with him, and I have 2 projects coming up with him, which is Fast 10, Hobbs and Shaw, Part 2, the sequel. So we'll see. It's exciting, but we do build up the cars from scratch. We buy them, we build them, and then I do all logistics. I send them around the world, wherever we're shooting. Wherever we go on Fast 9, we went to Thailand, we were in London, and we were, I don't know how many continents, we were in different countries, and we shot here as well in LA, but it's been a good run for me, and I enjoy my job, and luckily for that job, it gives me the money and allows me to go to these events.
Yeah, right, because it's pretty pricey.
Yeah, man, let me tell you. And sitting in a black hole ain't cheap, let me tell you.
Right? Oh,
taking a
man.
flight in the morning, Raider game, and then flight back. Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But it's well worth the experiences that I would pay much more for.
That's cool though that you set your goal and you reached your goal. You know, I started to learn that setting goals, I could reach them. And so, I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, but, you know, after hearing your story, I feel good about talking about it. But I made a goal to get Stan Lee's autograph, get Zach Wilde's autograph, and get Bo Jackson's autograph. And then I achieved those. But the point of it is, though, is that I learned to keep setting goals. And then, like, I set a goal to start my channel. And now, tonight, I'm interviewing, Coach Tom Flores. So, yeah, Raider Nation,
That's awesome.
set your goals. Keep going for what you really want. Don't let anybody tell you can't get it, because you can, man, and you should be getting it.
Because you can. Trust
Right.
me. I went to college, didn't graduate from college because I had little kids, so I couldn't do it. I couldn't finish it, so I had to work. So, and when thank God that I fell in love with The Rock. And I wanted to meet him because now I have a job where I've been solely able to take care of my kids by myself. I've always done it. I set that goal to meet him, and good things came out of it. I have a great job. I can support my kids. I get to, travel around the world, see things. I mean, yesterday when I saw that rocket from SpaceX, I was on that launch pad back in 2011, the second shuttle before they canceled it, and it was on the launch pad. We were shooting Transformers 3, and I have pictures of it. And yesterday when they did that rocket, I was like, Saturday, sorry. When they shot off that rocket, I was like, wow, I was on that launch pad, and I had tears in my eyes because that was an experience that I was able to experience because of my job. And It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Set your goals and follow your dreams, Raider Nation.
Absolutely. Exactly. Follow your dreams. Never give up, no matter what.
Amen.
Never give up. I won't.
Amen.
Never.
To that.
I may struggle, but I will never quit.
That's the way to be. Never quit.
That's right. Never quit. Nope.
All right. Well,
not in my blood.
That's right. Yeah. It's not the Raider way. That's for sure. Right?
Nope. Not the Raider way. Look at how many games have we lost. You know what? No matter what, I'm not going to just quit just because they don't win. Hey, you're a Raider fan? You're going to always be a Raider fan.
Win, lose, or tie, I'm a Raider until I die. But we should just make the adjustment, right? I'm a Raider beyond the casket dropping. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I'll work on that part. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on the channel. So before I let you go, tell the Raider Nation how to find you on social media.
On Facebook, I'm under my last name. I know Cisco's been telling me to change it to Mistress of the Black Hole. I try to do a page, but I don't know. You can find me as Rojas on Facebook, on Instagram, under Mistress of the Black Hole.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again. Like I said, I appreciate everything you've done. All right, I appreciate you coming on the channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, cool. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, Raider Nation. Mistress of the Black Hole. Make sure you find her on social media and give her a like and follow. What another great story. Follow your dreams, Raider Nation. Set your goals and follow your dreams. You can achieve what you want to achieve if you never give up. All right, man. The chat line is down again, guys. I don't know what's going on, man. I hope that everything's okay. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to the halftime show, starting with the phone blitz.
Hey, Raider Nation, this is Mad Max Road Warrior coming from Phoenix, where we say, if you don't have nothing at all, have loyalty. Today's show, pay attention to it, family. Monday Night Live is presented by Homer and guest Tom Flores with my buddy, my brother, Polo Rodriguez, the Black Coast Santa Maria president. So stay tuned for a great show tonight, family, and understand one thing. If it ain't in Arizona, it ain't certified Arizona.
Hey, this is your man Vendetta Raider from the Spokane chapter of the Black Hole. Just like to send a big shout out to Raider Homer. Thanks for having this show, and a huge thank you to Coach Tom Flores for being such an inspiration and a true Hall of Famer.
Yay! Shout out to Raider Nation. Global, worldwide, man. It's Cali Mark 512. Just want to give the big ups to my homie Raider Homer for putting that podcast together, man, and keeping this shit on rotation on Mondays, man. You keep doing the damn thing, homie. You know what I mean? Yay!
What up, Raider Homer? What's up, Raider Nation? This is also the president of the TNBC. I just want to give a shout out to all the nation right now going through this crazy times. Y'all stay positive. Y'all stay home. And stop the negative against each other, man. Stay positive. I'll give a big shout out to all my TNBC family worldwide. Stay safe. From DFW, Houston chapter, Vegas, Arizona, North Carolina, Germany, Cali, Vegas, Kansas. I want to give a shout out to the super fans, TNBC, Gray Raider, Dark Phoenix, La Raider, and Hollywood Raider, and our newest one, Little Chucky, Little Gruden. What's up, Little Chucky? Much love and respect, Raider Nation. Stay safe out there. TNBC, baby, worldwide.
What's good, Raider Nation family? This is your boy, the Mob Boss. Just want to give a shout out to all of you who participated in the Kids Get Cancer 2 charity raffle over the last week. We raised a lot of money for that charity, and I really appreciate all you guys' love and your support. I also want to shout out Polo and the Santa Maria chapter of the Black Hole, getting ready for that Santa Maria parade, which the boy, the Mob Boss, will be there. And shout out to Homer. I'm really excited for tonight's programming. To have Tom Flores on is amazing. I'll be tuning in. I'll be listening. I'll be watching. So you guys have a great Raider afternoon, and I'll see you all soon. It's your boy, the Mob Boss. Raiders.
Hey, what's up, Raider Homer? This is Lonnie Cash from Las Vegas. Just want to say what's up and represent that TNBC. And thanks for doing what you do and giving all this love to the Raider Nation. That's what it's all about, my brother. Peace. Hey, keep doing your thing. All right, now.
What's up, Homer? It's Troopy. Just wanted to say hello and give a shout out to everybody. All right, later.
All right, Raider Nation, there you have it. The Raider Homer's Phone Blitz. Shout out to Mad Max, brother, man. It's good to hear from you. Always love hearing from Mad Max. Hey, and I told y'all, my boss is always doing good things for the Raider Nation. So shout out to everybody that donated to Nikki Snow's fight cancer drive. I appreciate everybody calling in, and I appreciate the chat line, which I'm pretty sure the chat line is still going on. But again, I can't see it. My screen's frozen, but we're still moving on as a show. So let's go ahead and move on to the music portion of the Raider Homer halftime show.
Save our boats, don't run away like the Colts. Don't be a traitor like a Raider. Man, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
Silver attack, I'm known as Big Man, always keeping it real, representing the spirit. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
Touchdown! Raiders! San Diego Superchargers, what the hell is that? Where your rhymes are whack, yo, fake ass joke, blow the slime and hate, yo, talk about my Raiders and your ass will get smoked. Recognize who you're talking about. This is Raider Nation, keep us out of your mind. We bleed to the bone with that silver and black, and don't ever underestimate the Big Mac. Cause I go off jump, you a soft pump. That rap we made food, that's all junk. San Diego Superchargers, boy you full of it, that's super guard. We the best in the West, got that shield on my chest. There's only one nation, forget the rest. Cause we rolling deep, we got all the weapons. And you know Big Mac is always rapping. I'm always rapping that Raider black. Silver attack, I'm known as Big Mac. Always keeping it real, representing the spirit. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I'm always rapping that Raider black. Silver attack, I'm known as Big Mac. Always keeping it real, representing the spirit. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I'm always rapping that silver and black. When I'm in the stands, I'm watching Raiders attack. Nothing else bigger than being an upper Raider. Khalil Mack is a dominator. We got the DBs to sack the QBs, and on the sidelines we got the QTs. We got the best fans, so stay up on back, girl. Don't ever stick the punk gas in the black hole. Forget your team, that's right, I said it. Come to O.O. Better believe you're gonna regret it, cause we taking no mess, as you can see. So fuck the Broncos, the Bows, and KC. Pathetic ass teams, we're the only nation, and we stand tall with that reputation. We don't hold back, we got all the weapons, and you know Big Mac is always reppin'. I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I was born a Raider, never a Raider trader. I'm greater than you hater, I'm a gladiator. Representing the fullest, yeah, my team is the coolest. Derek Carr's from the field throwing bombs, let's do this. Booyah! The crowd goes wild, super fans in the stands, slapping hands in the aisles, getting pumped up. Yeah, that's how we get down. This is how we do it in the city of Oaktown. Loyal ass fans, dedicated from the heart. I've been a Raider fan way back from the start. Raider gear's all I wear, so beware when I stare at your sorry ass punk ass you can't compare to this loyal ass super fan. Talk trash about my Raiders, getting busted like a rubber band. So by now you can see that I'm the weapon, and you know Big Mac is always reppin'. I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I wanna give a shout out to my Raider Nation crew, Knights of the Shield and the KOS Night Crew. Wolfman, Graffiti Raider, Reaper, Man Team, Raider Cannon, Warrior Princess, Lee Sugar's my team. Game Face, Skeletor, Storm Raider, Raider X, Riot Raider, Cape Train, Spine Raider, Who's Next? Gorilla, Hammer Flow, Christian Crew, Show Love, and blowing up tracks on the microphone. Love, Hazmat Boys making noise for the nation. Raider hitters, pissed stop, change the station. This is our home field, know what I mean? Middle finger in the air, Mr. F your team. You about to get tossed by the Raider, my boss. Violator, Raider, Jerry Ghost, Raider, go off, and it don't stop when I'm naming up my crew. Dre of the dead, Raider, I can too. I gotta keep it going for the ones who got my back. OG, Raider Red, Gooey, Mrs. Mac. Raider Red, Black Ice, ain't nothing nice. You miss it with my girl, for you better think twice. Grim Raider, Fish Raider, Raider, Misfit. Let's see you Raider haters try to bust this, but you ain't nothing cause you can't come close. This is Raider Nation and I'm giving you a dose of the Big Mac on the map. On my boy Tuzak, Raider Menace is the maniac on my back. Dr. Death, the Raider hit a killer, and that's how I'm a grind is Raider Red Killer. Queen of the darkness, I thought you knew. Shout out to the Raider Nation wrecking crew. I told you, fool, we got too many weapons. Don't you forget, Big Mac is always reppin'. I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
I'm always reppin' that Raider black, silver and tech. I'm known as Big Mac, always keeping it real, representing this field. I ride or die for this Raider shit.
The autumn wind is a Raider. The autumn wind is a Raider.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
City gonna make the big time when it's game time. And now Sin City will never be the same again. Pride and poise gonna make some noise. I wanna score on every drive. Just when, baby, we're united as one, where the nation comes alive. King House fire is burning bright. The team is mean and ready for a fight. And I'm just loving, I'm a Raider for life. Viva Los Raiders! Viva Los Raiders! Viva Los Raiders! Viva, Viva Los Raiders! 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 I'm listening to Ford Dub. You should be too. Cliff Branch. Tom Flores. The main weapon was Cliff Branch, conceivable speed like an avalanche. Tom Flores, historical man, first Hispanic head coach, and he played to win. The first wild card team to win the Super Bowl was coached by Tom Flores. They double let you know. It's time to get down and make them kids some. Cliff Branch got more yards and touchdowns than his Super Bowl yards and touchdowns. Playing coach winner. He played to go to Super Bowl. Coming might get them, but they don't want to let them in. We coming and get them. Just so get your ass up and get it done. You don't want us coming, get ready to run. Hall of Fame out there, picture like a bomb. That shows us you might not like us. That shows you better not try us. Cliff Branch. Tom Flores. Hall of Fame. Yo, NFL, I say we're knocking again. Knocking at your door and saying just let 'em in. Man, you slept on the stapler. The man in half. Rest in peace, kid. We got your back. And now Cliff Branch, the legends go on. So much we had to even just put it in a song. So now's the time that you make it all right. Lock in Cliff Branch and Tom Flores tonight. Cliff Branch. Tom Flores.
Hawaii to the Bay, like a silver all day, Raider Nation don't play. We were the black hole, life gets sucked in. Imagine what happens if they don't get inducted. When it comes to the hole, we always get spurned. Deny them again and catch them or burn it. Takes 80%. Committee's a joke. Branch and Flores deserve these votes. Step back into history, see what's accomplished. SB11, Minnesota got demolished. 4 seasons later, his wins got clipped. First wild card team to win this shit. Couple years passed, but it hurt me on the skin. The autumn when it's made up, plundering, pillaging, cheating is encouraged when push comes to shove. Cause NFL that's for no fucking love, let 'em in. Let 'em in.
Cliff Branch. Tom Flores. Branch. Tom Flores.
This is Big Bad Wolf, howling much love to Ford Dub for this badass Volume 6 mixtape.
All right, Raider Nation, there you have it. Raider Homer's phone blitz and Raider Homer's halftime show. We just heard from Big Mac, always repping Raider Head, Viva Los Raiders, and 4Dub, gotta let them in. Make sure you get 4Dub's new mixtape, Volume 6, Raider Love. It's a great album, man. I listen to it all the time. It's on Spotify and Apple iTunes. So get over there and show some support, Raider Nation. So, with all that being said, it's time to get to Polo because we are getting closer and closer to Tom Flores. So let's get with Polo real quick and find out what's going on with the rescheduled Santa Maria Parade. All right, Raider Nation, here he is, Polo Rodriguez, a.k.a. Fireman 4, president of the Black Hole Santa Maria chapter. Thanks for coming back on, Polo. Technical.
Hey, Homer, you there?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I have that it talks to me. But anyway, hey, before I start, I like to do a big shout out. Anybody that was at our parade last year knows that our secretary, Brianna Ferry, it's her birthday. So if everybody wants to reach out, either hit her up on the Santa Maria page. Tomorrow's her birthday, so big shout out and a happy birthday to Brianna Ferry, the secretary of the Santa Maria Black Hole chapter.
Happy birthday. That's awesome, man. We were all looking forward to these events, these off-season events in the Raider Nation, but unfortunately, COVID has all but canceled the Raider Nation's event season. So before we get into this conversation, tell the Raider Nation what date the Santa Maria Parade has been rescheduled for.
Okay, as of right now, the new date is September 26th, and that is for the Santa Maria Rodeo Elks Parade, and that Santa Maria Black Hole is part of.
Okay, cool. What inspired you to become part of the Santa Maria Parade as a chapter?
Well, as a chapter, it's a no-brainer. I'm a member of the Elks here in Santa Maria, and one of the big things we do with the Elks is we do a big fundraiser. It's called the Golden Circle of Champions. It's with PBR, and I started thinking that with the Raiders moving to Vegas, the biggest PBR is in Las Vegas. It's the biggest fit for Santa Maria. It's the number one rodeo of its size, and so we're proud that we host that every year. And the parade, it was a good time to do a couple things. It's like, I look at it for the community is we have a lot of Raider fans in Santa Maria. A lot of them never been able to go to the game. So we were able to bring in super fans. I've said that story before that I remember going to Raider games and it would take me forever, to get pictures with all the super fans. And chasing Senor, chasing Violator, Gorilla, or Graham, or, and you chase them, and little by little, you know, you got all their pictures. You know, and I chase. You know, I'm a super fan chaser, I guess, and I go, you know what? As a Raider fan, it took me like 12, 13 years to grab all those pictures. How about if I do that? You'd be able to do that in one day in one place. So that was the concept behind it. And at the same time, we bring all these people into town. Then we raise money, and we do everything for free. But while people are here, we're actually raising money. We're doing raffles, and then we turn that money over to the Golden Circle Champions.
That's awesome. I love hearing, you know, about the Raider Nation giving back to the community and helping raise money for the community. It's an awesome thing to see. And I've looked into. Actually, I'm in communication with the Wounded Warriors Project, and we're looking to have a fundraiser on August 15th. So, I mean, and that's because, you know, I've been talking to you and Sammy and Ronnie and Cisco and everybody and seeing what y'all are doing with these events and raising money. And it's like, it's inspired me to give back to my community, you know. And so, you know, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your inspiration.
Now, you know what? We all got it from somewhere, and I just think as we get older, it's, you know, it's our responsibility to always give back.
Yeah.
And then what better cause than, you know, kids with cancer, and that's always been dear. You know, it's tough. You know, people complain about, you know, things are going on at work and things going on in life, and I know Nikki's really big on it. She posted it. Hey, I think we lost 100,000 people so far of COVID, and in that same amount of time, we lost 17,400 kids with cancer. And so that's a battle that goes on all the day. Think of what we did as a society to try to stop COVID. Right? We shut down the economy, and in that same amount of time, we still lost 17,400 kids with cancer. So that's just something to think about. You know, put life in perspective. What we did for ourselves. And then, you know, we hardly ever talk about kid cancer. We always talk about adult cancer, not pediatric cancer. So that's something just right now. I call it $1. You know, every Friday she has a kid cancer group. There's like 500 or some members. Please be part of it. But if every Friday, if everybody gives $1, and I know I challenge you, and I know you give dollars. I know Michael's giving dollars. A lot of the guys from the Black Hole. But if all your listeners, you give $1 to Nikki. Every Friday, you know, at the end of that month, at the end of the year, we'll make a big difference all together. And it's only $1. You know, PayPal her $1.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's awesome. When how you send that message out every week consistently, and it's awesome to see the response from the Black Hole. You know how everybody loves to chip in, dude. That's you know, I was talking to the Mistress of the Black Hole just a little while ago, and she was talking about how the Black Hole is like a family, and it's true. It's more than just being available for a phone call to support your friend or your family member, but it's about raising money to protect or to help fight cancer and things like that, and getting together and giving back. I mean, it's cool. I like what you're doing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support we get doing it. So
yeah,
it's a big team effort and family effort. I'm just glad I'm part of it. So
likewise. So this is the Santa Maria Parade edition. So let's talk a little bit about how the parade went last year.
You know what? The parade, when we did it a couple years ago, we ran into a lot of stumbling blocks. First, it was just getting a parade. It sounds pretty simple. Hey, we're going to be in a parade, but the logistics of bringing everybody into town. And here in Santa Maria, we pride ourselves on the Santa Maria style barbecue. So that was the whole thing. It's like, we're bringing everybody into town. We got to be able to take care of them. We got to make sure we feed them right. Because they're providing a service. They're showing up. They're the entertainment. So they're stars. So, you know, first of all, you have to go out and get sponsors. And last year, we're blessed. We got some great sponsors with Sal, you know, Katrina Hernandez. She's a realtor lady in Las Vegas, but she's from Santa Maria. So she was able to put me in touch with all the players from John Petroleum, Pacific Petroleum, to DS Trucking with Sal Vargas, and with that, and you know, with having the sponsors made a big difference. You know, hey, bringing the restrooms, bringing the truck, the trailer. Before that, we'd always pitch in $100 a person and make it happen, and then after that, you know, try to do as much fun. So last year, financially, we're a lot better off. We actually gave out patches, certificates, wine to everybody that participate. Plus, Unlimited, our sponsors, Corona Modelo, hooked us up with some samples. And then our guys here in Santa Maria, Michael, Rigo, and Israel, our barbecue guys. And now we got Mondo, the Bandito barbecue, and he's our latest sponsor for barbecue. And so we're ready to go. So we were ready to go. We got the coins that we're going to give out this year, which is kind of a surprise. But so all the super fans that come down and participate or our special guests, we make sure they leave here with something. That's the difference between our event and any other event. Ours is more of a tailgate. When you go to a Black Hole tailgate, you show up there, it's a family, it's free. The taco guy's there. If you want to throw him a couple dollars to help set up, we always would encourage that. Same thing with the shots, but the beer and entertainment's always free. Same thing here in Santa Maria. You show up, the drinks are free, the food was free, the dessert's free. And the desserts. I mean, it was just amazing. So we try to take good care of you, give you Santa Maria style barbecue, and have a lot of fun. And last year, we took it over the top. We had Otis McKinney and our newest sponsors, and I don't say sponsors are partners. We partnered up with the Retired Players of Congress, Santa Maria, and the Richmond chapter. So this is a co-op between Michael Aragon and myself, Droopy. And so we got with Marv Fleming and Bob Grant, and that made a huge difference. Teaming up with them, and they came down. Bob Grant came down with Harold Jackson. Like I said, we had Otis McKenzie here, and it was huge. I mean, we actually brought football players to Santa Maria.
Yeah, that's awesome. I always love going to events with, football players and getting autographs and seeing super fans and getting pictures. I mean, it's fun. And you have you even have a float even, right?
Yeah, we had 2 floats last year. We had a truck a tractor trailer, and then that was pulling another trailer. So we had, I know a lot of people are posting it today because it's the 1 year. It showed it, popped up on the memories. And then Yamaha was our sponsor, and we had one of their all-terrain vehicles. And I remember we had Rich, the Cannon. He was in the back of it shooting shirts out of it, and then he started walking around. But yeah, it was just a great atmosphere. We had DJ Gumby was playing another Raider music, and we were going around throwing out Black Hole T-shirts, passing out American flags and Black Hole beads for the people in the crowd. So it was fun, and we had a blast. And we got an award. Obviously, we got a ribbon for the most spirited float, so which is kind of cool. We actually got that award. We're 2 years in a row we've got that. So which was pretty awesome for us.
Yeah, I was looking forward to going, and I am still going. On September 26th. I cannot wait to meet Coach Tom Flores in person and get on that float. I want to take some footage from the float. I mean, I want to document this Santa Maria parade this year.
That float was something else. We had the American flag, the Raider flag, the Black Hole flag. We had the Compas flag flying. I think we even had the Wrecking Crew came up. Every club, every color comes up. We always throw their colors on there also that they're joining us. So like I say, it's a one nation thing. It's everybody that shows up. And like we had from Joker, came from all the way from Tennessee. Obviously Hell Raider from the Phoenix. The Oakland guys were here. The Vegas guys were here. The Valley. We had Big Mac showed up. Yeah, it was fun. We had, like I said, a great time, great turnout. We had the Mod Boss, all the KOS folks that came in there, and it was awesome. I mean, it was a better turnout than we expected. And this year, we were so excited. We had, not only do we have our Coach Tom Flores, also, we also have the Retired Players of Congress, Harold Jackson, Bob Grant, Marv Fleming, Ron Brown, and Reginald Grant. And we also had Max Crosby lined up to come here, and Alex Ingo and Jalen Richard. So we were going to have those were all the surprise players that we had coming up for this weekend. And unfortunately, just due to the fact that COVID, and that took us out.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. Like I said, I knew about that a long time ago, Raider Nation. I was so excited to go, man. Man, I wanted to
Yeah.
meet everybody. Yeah, I would have. But
Yeah,
hey,
having the current players, that's to me is like we've had the retired players, and we're building on that, and now, we're bringing current players on here, and that was going to be huge for us this year. The good thing about that is, we've talked to their agents. We got to come out, we got to make it successful with Coach Flores in September, and it's a Patriot away game, so hopefully everybody can come here. We'll do a Friday night, we'll do the Saturday the parade, then we'll do a watch party on Sunday, so it'll be a 3-day event. And then, what better place to get Tom Flores, get his autograph on some of your things. We just did, COVID changed a lot of the rules. We did a signing with Coach in, I think, February, and that's the last time we were together. And since then, no players have signed. I mean, they're signing privately, but they're not signing street. So our task is to, come up with a safe place. We don't want to get our players, our legends sick. But at the same time, we want to make sure, we make it a good personal experience at the same time.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to think about the player's safety. So.
That's correct. But I mean, to see them in person is something else. I don't know. I know me and you talked about, the Fan Fest, the Raider Fan Fest when you first met Bo Jackson. You see them, you're like, wow. But that's how it is with Coach. And Coach is such an awesome person.
So, speaking of awesome people, right, you mentioned Mob Boss and, Wayne. Both of them are great ambassadors, and you certainly are also. So talk about why it's so important to be an upstanding ambassador of the Raider Nation.
Well, obviously, my full-time job, I'm a firefighter in real life, and I think that's part of our nature. We're always trying to do right through the community, and that carried on through work. Knowing, coming from Sanger and, growing up with and watching Tom Flores would always come back to our schools, and he'd bring the players back, and they'd play, basketball against our teachers and raise money, but you always saw those guys giving back. You saw the Shriners, coming back, taking us to the circus, but they always gave back. There's a certain time in your life, and the earlier the better, but you got to, you come back and say, hey, it's time for us to get back. And when you go back out there and you go, the Raiders, we have, been a Raider fan all my life since second grade. But no matter, every time you see a Raider fan, you get that look like, what? Even with Bob Grant, it was like, hey, I don't want to mess around no biker gang. I was like, no, it's not like that. But, you get that look. So we have to change that. And, when you go to some of these other stadiums, I always tell people I went to Green Bay and I felt like, wow, I couldn't believe how nice the people were at Green Bay. It still blows me away. And I thought the people were nice in Indy. But when you went to Green Bay, it was like, wow. And Cleveland did that to me, too. When I got to Cleveland, I'm playing the Browns. And this is a dog pound. Remember, this is a dog pound. And, boy, we went in there. They treated us. It was fun. And I'm like, yeah, this is the way it should be. You could always razz each other, the different teams and stuff. But at the same time, there's nothing but love. And there's camaraderie. And you take you help each other out. That's what I love about football. Politics suck. Football always brings us together. It don't make a difference. In football, there's no color. We all get along. That's the best thing about being a Raider fan is, under the current situation, that doesn't happen in the nation because we all have each other's back. The only thing that matters to us is what color is if you're silver and black. That's the only color that matters to us.
Amen to that. All right, so you've been working behind the scenes, getting some great interviews lined up for Monday Nights Live, and I appreciate it. And tonight's special guest, Coach Tom Flores, is someone that you've known for a long time. Tell the Raider Nation about growing up in Sanger, California with Coach Tom Flores.
Well, obviously, when you grow up in Sanger, California, everywhere you go, it's Tom Flores. I sent you a picture earlier of my high school stadium, football stadium. It's at our high school. It's only one high school. It's Sanger High School. The field's named Tom Flores Stadium. So you're always around. They have the biggest award you can get in the Sanger Unified School District is a Tom Flores Award. And I just talked to you about this. So my niece, there's one student per class through the entire Sanger Unified School District. So it is the highest award you can get. So each class has one. And this year, I had my niece Kaylin and my nephew Landon. They both got the Tom Flores Award, so they're stoked. So you get a medal, you get a certificate with coach's autograph on it. So you imagine how stoked these kids are. They're like, "Oh, we got Tom Flores' award," but it's the biggest award you can get as a Sanger Unified School District.
That's
So
cool.
that tells you how much the town still loves that man.
Yeah.
He still comes back and does the blood drives, and he's always in there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, what an honor, yeah, to grow up in your hometown and then have them honor you with a stadium and awards presented to, excellent teachers and your name. I mean, that's special. That's real
Yeah.
special. So
Yeah, he's never stopped. I mean, that's the whole thing, and it's funny because we always, we claim him as our own, and he's our son, our guy that always comes back. But every farm community around the valley, he does the same thing. I know we're his hometown, and he grew up there, played high school there, but he does that to all of the labor communities or farm communities that around the valley. So that's what he does. He's always giving back.
absolutely. All right, so you've been talking a little bit about the Retired Players Congress. So remind the Raider Nation what the Retired Players Congress is all about and why it's important to support the men who made the game.
The Retired Players Congress, we got tied in with them about 2 years ago, and their cause is what they do is we know a lot of the older players. We're lucky we met them throughout the years, and you became friends with them, and so it's like, hey, those guys didn't get $1 million contracts. They got Super Bowl rings, but they didn't get $10 million contracts, $20 million contracts. They didn't. They don't live like that. So if you ever bought anything at Fanatics, the Retired Players of Congress almost produces every jacket the Fanatics sells, a lot of the shirts they sell, a lot of the hats. So they actually produce that here in LA. So they're the largest licensed NFL producers inside the United States. Obviously China does a lot, but inside the United States they have the biggest contract. And just kind of to show you, the Dallas Cowboys still own the rights. They're the only team that do not give out their rights to make their gear. Well, the Retired Players of Congress does their jackets. And that shows you Jerry Jones doesn't give nothing, but because this is such a good cause, he gave them the right to make them. So what they do is, they produce the jackets, and then they give back the profits to all the retired players. So if they played in the NFL and they retired, they'll get a part of the percentage of the profit. So which is pretty good. But what really drew me to them is they have a signature line of jackets. So if you're a Hall of Fame player, you have a signature jacket. And of course, when Willie Brown was alive, he was one of my favorite players. And I would talk to him at Raider Fest, and he talked to him, his daughter, and a great guy. But I always told myself, hey, I want to get me a Willie Brown jacket. I want to get me a Willie Brown jacket. So when you go in there, you design your own jacket. And on the inside of the PAL, it's autographed. And there's a shirt. You get the Retired Players of Congress. But the jacket, it's custom made, so it's one of a kind. And I know when I bought that jacket, that $200 of that jacket went to Willie Brown. And that to me is like, hey, I got Willie Brown's jacket, but at the same time, I was able to help Willie Brown. And thank him. And that jacket, long term, I think the Al Davis jacket that they made for Al, I think it's sold at $20,000 at auction. So I mean, it's a one of a kind jacket. They only go up in value. So it's a great place to buy your gear, and if you buy it directly from them, the players get a bigger percentage. So it's a good. If every team did that, we can make this company huge, and all the money goes to our players. So the legends, the ones that started the when football was football, right?
Yeah. Well, football was football. The men who made the game.
Yeah.
RetiredPlayersCongress.com. Get there, Raider Nation. Because, it's cool, right? We've been talking about how the Raider Nation gives back to the community. The Raider players and other players gave so much of their bodies for the fans. So it's nice to be able to help them out by buying merchandise that we would want to buy anyways that benefits them directly. So that's an awesome
correct.
thing.
And that's the thing. You're going to buy the gear anyway.
Yeah.
And this way it gives back to the players. And those guys, I could call them and say, hey, can we show up here? And the stuff they do for the inner city, for the schools, the after-school programs. They have a pilot program where they're teaching inner city kids how to fly airplanes. I think their first guy that graduates that just became a pilot with commercial airlines. So, I mean, they have some great success stories there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, and do me a favor and tell Ira to come to my event if he can,
Oh, yeah. No, he's in Texas. I'm sure he'll be there.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate it. All right, so the Santa Maria chapter is known for having a lot of superfans as members. What is the connection between superfans and the Santa Maria chapter?
You know what? I think it's kind of like when we first start coming in here, we put I remember putting a flyer up and saying, hey, and they were like, hey, you can't put them on a flyer. They're not black hole members. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. We need to, how come they're not black hole members? And anyway, so at first it was kind of like, hey, if we're going to advertise black hole, they should be black hole members. And then as you start moving to Vegas, it's all going to get commercialized. And if you have everybody centralized, I don't want to say you can union them, but at least everybody's connected and they better work with each other. So we ended up doing a big autograph show with U.S. Hall of Fame Sports. And that's kind of when, at that point, we had a lot of members already, but then the rest, after that, most of them signed up. And the cool thing about it is, like I know last year ESPN called and said, hey, they hit us up on hey, can we have some of your super fans for a commercial and stuff? And that's the whole thing. It's like, hey, I called all the super fans we had it, and they sent them off, and then I think Violator is the one that got selected. But the good thing about it is everybody got to interview for it, which is the way it should be. I mean, we've always had the guys that have been doing it forever. Gorilla, Violator, Senor, Voodoo Man, the old ones, Skull Ladies. But you have the rest of the guys that have been doing it for Kukuis, the Jays, the Racinduses. They've been doing it for a long time, and they got great following, and Marty Mars, and so you get people that have been doing it that they get these personalities, and they become part of it. Look at the homies. The homies are probably the most popular worldwide super fans we know, just because of the brand.
Yeah.
They're known everywhere. So, and you put them all together, and so when you go to Vegas, the way I look at it is, the casinos are going to call, hey, we want to do a black hole party here, and then we'll have they'll have a deck of cards, Cisco, they'll have a deck of cards, and okay, what super fans you want there? I want these fans, and you split them all out, and this way, you can go party with the super fans. And the idea at the end of the day is, the super fans want to have a good time. Raider fans want to have a good time. And at the same time, you always want to post those pictures with the super fans. And if you kind of spread them all out, then it helps offset the cost for these guys that are travel. Because, you don't still see them at the games. You see them at events. And, I know the Mistress says, hey, how expensive it could be just to travel. But, every time you tell these guys, hey, we need you, when Baja Juan calls and say, hey, I need you guys in Rosarito, hey, we're going to Rosarito. If Cheetos and Fabian say, hey, we need you in Porterville, we go to Porterville. Michael needs, I know they had Josh had a thing yesterday in Sacramento. They go to Sacramento. So,
yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
he's got trouble on
it. Works. I love how the black hole has each other's back. That's awesome.
Yeah, it keeps growing though. I love it. I love it being part of all those super bands and the Jesters, the Goons. The Queen of Darkness, Little Chucky, they're all part of the whole thing. Manuel Skeletor 805, Raider Hobby, then you got guys like Mark, the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, he's from Santa Maria. He lives in Arizona now, but he's from this. I'm in his hometown right now. And of course Resendez, and I got to give credit to Maria's idea to kind of put everybody together. And she's a great gal, Resendez's wife.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, Man, like I said, I cannot wait to make it there on September 26th and experience this in person. Because man, you're making it sound awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping, like I said, we get a big turnout this year. I know it's during the game. The nice part about Santa Maria, even September, should be nice and cool. Cools off at nighttime, so even during the summertime, you're going to have to bring a sweatshirt. I know that sounds weird, but a sweatshirt at nighttime once it gets dark. And hopefully we'll do a 3-day event. You know, obviously the focus on the parade and makes it successful, but that we always do a cookout at my house the Friday night before the parade. Saturday, we'll do the parade, then the barbecue, then Sunday we'll get together at one of our places to watch the game.
That's awesome.
So how excited are you right now?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, I was tripping out. I was fumbling trying to get the phone to get record the first call, maybe get a soundbite or a teaser, but so I was nervous. I'm still a little nervous, but I'm glad I got to talk to him beforehand. Get those butterflies out.
How are the chat lines? Are people ready to hear Tom Flores?
I can't see the chat line. It went down a while ago.
Oh man, I hope they're on there.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they are. So you heard that chat line. Get ready, because here he comes, Tom Flores. All right, hey, Polo, tell everybody how to find you on social media before you get Tom Flores on the phone.
Hey, the Santa Maria Black Hole, the Black Hole Santa Maria. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat also. The Snapchat goes active during games, and generally it's pretty dormant right now. But yeah, please support us. If you want to be a sponsor or a vendor at the parade, please hit me up. There's always room for vendors and sponsors, and if you're a super fan and you're out there, please hit us up. The more the merrier. Be part of the family. I always look at all our Instagram posts and Facebook. I always say be part of it, and that's what I'm asking for. Just be part of it. That's the thing. You walk around with a smile. It's like, hey, you're part of it. You belong, and that's the best part about being part of it.
All right, cool. Well, I'm ready. Like I said, I cannot wait to be part of it.
There you go.
All right, cool. Well, Polo, I appreciate it. I guess we'll move on to Coach Tom Flores.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm going to try to get him on the line.
Okay. Raider Nation, so I'm going to let you see this video. This is an old series I used to do called the Raider Mythos Theater. We're going to be picking this back up. I'm going to re-record my part for the interviews and get these interviews out with the players in the future. So here we go.
I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. There's a commitment to excellence to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others. Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes. But don't worry about mistakes, because there's only one thing that counts. Just win. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win, is the will to win, is the will to win. I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports. There's a commitment to excellence to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others. Just win. Play hard. Try not to make mistakes. But don't worry about mistakes, because there's only one thing that counts. Just win. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win, is the will to win, is the will to win.
All right, Raider Nation, here he is, Coach Tom Flores, legendary Raider player, coach, and broadcaster. Thank you for coming on the Raider Homer channel, Coach. I'm honored to have you as a guest.
Hey, quite welcome. It's my pleasure. It's a kind of a quiet time in this crazy world that we're living in right now with this virus so prevalent, and it's nice to talk to somebody outside of the house here.
Yeah, this quarantine is something. It's something else. This is a major event. This is something that we'll probably never see again, and something that we haven't seen since like really 1918. So it's a major event.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that you're hanging on in there, because it's pretty scary. It is definitely scary.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You can't be stupid and foolish and think that you're not gonna get anything, but because chances are, if you get exposed, you're in trouble. So you might as well wait it out if you can. But I tell you, I feel sorry for a lot of people out there, because a lot of them aren't going to rebound from this because of the effect it's having on our economy and some of the small businesses.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Once we get past the initial spread, we're gonna have to recover as a country as far as the economy. So we got a long road ahead of us. But hey, if we stick together and, as you say, don't do stupid things, we can get through this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk football.
Yes, sir, Coach. So the Raiders, as an organization, have produced some legendary coaches, players, and even broadcasters, as well as a legendary owner in Al Davis. Now, Al Davis, of course, went from assistant coach to head coach to commissioner of the AFL, eventually becoming the owner of the Raiders. Madden went from assistant coach to head coach to broadcaster, and eventually the face of a popular football video game named after him that has become one of the best-selling video games ever. You blazed your own trail starting in 1960 as the team's first starting QB, and then you became an assistant coach, then head coach, GM, and eventually a broadcaster. The Raiders have made their mark on both inside and outside of the organization throughout the years. How does it make you feel being a part of such a rich history as a Raider?
You feel proud. You feel good. You feel honored to have shared the platform with those guys and the locker room and won and lost games with them in the trenches. And it's just fun. And it's fun to watch the growth of some of them. I grew up in the organization and spent most of my career, 6 decades in professional football, and most of that with the Raiders. But in doing so, I got a chance to see players from other teams, like Lenny Dawson when I was with the Chiefs, and his growth and into the Hall of Fame, broadcasting the Hall of Fame as well, and Bo Jackson, his development, and, as well as share the stage with Al Davis and John Madden and the cast of characters that we had with the Raiders.
Yeah, and it was quite a cast of characters, legendary. And in 1963, Al Davis came to the Raiders as head coach and turned the Raiders around, going 10-4, which was one of the greatest single-season turnarounds at the time. What was your first impression of Al Davis in 1963?
Well, I'd heard about him when I was in college. I heard about him. He was assistant coach at USC, and some of the things I heard about him was that he was a tough, fierce competitor and very aggressive in some ways and very knowledgeable. But that's about it. I didn't hear much else until 1963 when he was hired by then one of the general managers in Wayne Valley, and I met him. And the first meeting we had was very rewarding for me because he got on the board right away. We started talking football within the first half hour that we knew each other. And it was fun to watch what he had in mind, what was coming out of his mind, because it all had to do with the big play and passing and being a quarterback. It's a dream.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it would have been like to learn from Al Davis. But so what was his demeanor like as a coach?
Well, he was very intense, he did all. Basically, he coached almost everything in those days. We only had 5 coaches, included him as a head coach. So they had to coach just about everything. So he was on the board every single meeting we had, and especially with the. Then we had quarterback meetings at night during the week during the season. So he was very intense and knowledgeable and demanding, but he demanding as he was right there working as hard, if not harder, with you, and, on your way to success.
All right. Well, in 1966, you had a great year, making the Pro Bowl and being named first team All Pro. This is the same year that Al becomes commissioner of the AFL and your last year with the Raiders. In 1967, you were playing for the Buffalo Bills, whose owner played a huge part in Raider history by loaning the Raiders money to stay in the AFL. What kind of owner was Ralph Wilson?
Ralph was a wonderful owner. We had in the American Football League, we had some terrific owners because they were more compassionate to the players, for the players. Ralph Wilson was one of the guys. He loved the league. He was the sole owner of the Bills, yet he was one of the biggest boosters of the entire league and helped the league stay in business. You're right. And keeping the Raiders from folding one year with a loan of money very quietly. He was very involved with his players, very involved in the city of Buffalo. I liked him. He and Lamar Hunt were, the two of the great owners of the days of the early 60s, as they call themselves, the Foolish Club. Bud Adams was another one. And then Al eventually became a member of the Foolish Club.
So in 1969, you played with the Bills and the Chiefs, and this is the year you win your first Super Bowl, and that's after the Chiefs beat the Raiders in the AFL Championship game. What is the perception of the Raiders and Al Davis from the other sideline in those days?
Nothing but respect. And intense rivalry, intense aggression, knowing that when you were playing them, it was a battle, and you never stopped because they could win in the last seconds as well as we could win in the last seconds, and that's the way some of our games were. We respected Al Davis. Coach Strand. When I was with the Chiefs, I respected him. And it was, in those days, there were only 8 teams, most of the AFL. So it was like a family. We had very small crowds that grew and grew and grew, and then small squads that grew and grew and grew. It was kind of like a family branching out with cousins and nephews and uncles. And when you were traded from one team to another, it wasn't like you were going into another world. You were just going to another neighborhood. And that's why I think to this day, the fans of the old AFL teams are so loyal.
That's awesome. Now, you have been described as a calm coach, quite opposite of John Madden. And Hank Stram has been described as calm. So how much did Hank Strand have an influence on you overall as a coach?
Well, Hank was very, very organized, very disciplined, very classy in your presentation on and off the field, as far as how you looked, how you dressed. When we traveled, we wore sport coats and ties. We weren't allowed to have long hair or sideburns, mustaches, and so you had to be respectful and look like a businessman and play. And when you think about it, when a player is dressed up as a businessman and looks good, he feels good, and he looks himself in the mirror, and it's going to help him. It's going to help his whole attitude. And I always wore a coat and tie when I was coaching, and whenever I traveled. So I think it was very important. But Hank was very organized as far as his practices. They were very, very precise, and his meetings and his treatment of the players was very good. So every coach that I've had, including all the way to high school, I've taken a little bit of them with me along my way as far as my philosophy is concerned.
That's cool. All right, so what is one thing that all NFL fans should know about the old AFL?
That we were a dream, started as a dream, and we woke up and became a football team and became a football league. And without us, football wouldn't be what it is today because we punched it in the mouth and made it better. And we got the NFL to take note, and they in return stepped it up a notch too. So the competition was tremendous, and that's what we helped make it what it is today.
After you retire as a player, you began your coaching career in Buffalo as an assistant in 1971. Your return to Oakland in 1972 is just the beginning of former Raider players returning to coach the Raiders. How did your return to Oakland unfold?
Well, I had when I went to Buffalo, it was just for a one season commitment, and so after the season was over, I returned to the Bay Area where I had my home and my family was, and I went in and I had coffee with Al Davis, and because he and I maintained a relationship, even though I was with Kansas City and with Buffalo as a player and even as an assistant coach. So he always said, when you're done, see if come back and we'll talk. So I did, and so it just so happened that they had an opening for a receiver, wide receiver, tight end coach, and eventually quarterbacks. But so he set up an interview with John Madden, and we talked and had lunch, and then he hired me. But they hired me, and I started working. And it was an easy transition because I never left the Raiders. I mean, I might have been gone physically, but I was always a Raider.
So what was it like coaching Fred Biletnikoff and Cliff Branch as a wide receivers coach?
Well, coaching Fred was easy because Fred and I played together. I threw him his first pass when he was a rookie. His first touchdown, his first drop, his first everything, and then I came back and I was coaching him, so I knew him well. And Cliff Branch got there the same time I did, so he was a rookie along with me. So I had to teach him, and he was just a guy that could run like a deer, that had talent, and a track guy that could actually play football. And but we had to, if you could believe this, I had to teach him how to slow down. He was so fast because he was close to qualifying for the Olympics that year until he strained a hamstring. So I had to teach him that. I had to teach him some of the other things. He was a quick learner, and it took him a while. But his third year, he became an All-Pro, and the rest was history as far as I'm concerned. He should be in the Hall of Fame because of what he's done, not only on the field but in the postseason games. His record is still one of the best, and so it was fun. It was fun watching him grow, and until unfortunately we lost him earlier this. We lost him recently. He was always a dear friend, always a big smile.
By the time Super Bowl 11 rolls around, you've worked with Al Davis, Hank Strand, and now John Madden. What influences did John Madden have on you?
Well, John was a fierce competitor. John was very good on game days. He was on the sideline, as you know and noted earlier. He was a bear on the sideline because he was into the game, and it could be 0 degrees. He'd still have a short sleeve shirt on with a tie, that string tie he had, and but that was John, and he would motivate that way, and his players knew him. That's the way he coached, and he didn't change. He was consistent in that respect. And I was different. I was a quiet guy, so I had to keep the sanity in the press, up in the coach's box, and sometimes I had to. John and I would commiserate and discuss some of the things in the quiet of the night. we worked very well. I thought we worked very well together. I thought we complemented each other together, and I knew who the head coach was, and I respected that. And I, at some point, I'd hope that I would get a chance to be head coach, but I didn't think it would be there. He kind of fooled me when he did, caught me by surprise when he retired. But I could tell he was wearing down at the end of his career. After 10 years, he had an ulcer, and he was just worn out. He was tired. Time to step back, and that was the best move he could have made, because from there he went on to big time stardom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, the Raiders have a list of players and coaches that went on to contribute to the game in one way or another. And in Super Bowl 11, Art Shell wins his first Super Bowl on his way to becoming the first black coach. And Gene Upshaw goes on to become president of the Players Association. So what kind of relationship did you have with Art and Gene?
Oh, I had a good one, because Gene I played against, and Art was there in those years too. And I got to know them a little bit during the off season. And then when I came back, 7 years I was assistant coach. I got to know those guys real well. And when I became head coach, it wasn't a big change for them, because I didn't change anything. We still continued to work similar to what we were doing before under John. But a little bit had to have my personality in it. And we still had the same philosophy, because this philosophy actually was Al Davis' philosophy. And so it was not a hard transition. And as I said, John and I worked well together, and I was happy, because he finally got a chance. We were knocking on the door so many times. Finally, he got a chance to win his first Super Bowl, and I was proud to be part of it.
The Raiders had some great QBs in the 60s and 70s, starting with you, LaMonica and Blanda, Stabler and Plunkett, and you watched Stabler in his heyday with the Raiders. So what kind of advice did you give Ken Stabler in 1972 when he only started one game?
Well, he had, I got there in 72, and Kenny had already been there. And, we opened the competition up. John opened the competition for the starting job, and Snake actually won the starting job that year. And we opened up, and his first game was horrendous, because he threw interceptions. Some of them were not his fault. Some tipped off the fingertips and or batted up in the air, and things just didn't go smoothly for him. So once again, we went back to LaMonica, and Darryl had a good year for us. And, he helped helped us make the playoffs. And that was the Immaculate Reception year. And Snake almost won that coming off the bench in Pittsburgh. The following year, Snake legitimately won the starting job and kept it all year long. But Snake was fun. I mean, Darryl was a good quarterback. He was a long ball type of guy. Snake was more of a gunslinger. Snake was fun on the field, off the field, sometimes too much off the field, but he was fun. and he didn't change from Monday through Sunday. He didn't change. He was Snake, loose, and a competitor like you've never seen before.
You won a Super Bowl with Stabler, and just 4 years later, you beat him in the playoffs on the way to your first Super Bowl as head coach. Did you speak with Ken after the Raiders beat the Oilers in the playoffs?
Well, not very much. Just congratulated us afterwards on the field, but I didn't we didn't have a chance to. They took off. They got in the plane and flew back to Houston, and I didn't see him again until somewhere during the off season. But when we traded him, I did not want to trade him, because he still had a lot of fire in his arm and his competitive spirit, and he wasn't done. But he kind of wanted to go. Al wanted to make a change, and so we decided. We were actually down here in Palm Springs for league meetings. This is where I live now, and when we traded it, Kenny and I talked to him on the phone the day we traded him, and we discussed it, And it's a very personal conversation, but at the end of it, I wished him well and told him that that's what we were going to do.
In 1979, you became head coach of the Oakland Raiders. Did John Madden have any advice for you as you became head coach of the Oakland Raiders?
No, he really didn't. I interviewed with Al, and John just kind of relaxed and went off and spent some downtime. But I never did talk to him before any interviews, or after I got the job, other than just a socially here and there. But we never did talk about them. And we had talked a lot about X's and O's during that 7 years as an assistant coach. The late nights we worked and working about what to do here, how to do it here, and so there wasn't. There didn't seem to be a lot to talk about because I was not going to change that much. I wasn't coming into. Once again, I was not coming into a strange environment. I was coming into an environment that I had been in for 7 years, and with John, so there wasn't a lot to discuss as far as that is concerned. But we maintained a friendship over the years, and when you're involved in football, you don't have a lot of time to socialize. And then he got so darn busy with his television, that he was always on his bus going across the country. Stopping I would have had a better chance to just stop at Hoboken, Kansas or something and wait in a coffee shop for him.
In 1980, you led the team to Super Bowl 15, its second Super Bowl in 4 years, with 14 new players. But the road to Super Bowl 15 wasn't easy as the Raiders came into the playoffs as a wild card team and had to stop Earl Campbell and the Oilers, the Browns in a close game, and the high-flying offense of the Chargers. Now, the division game versus the Browns came down to the final drive when the Browns turned it over in the end zone to essentially end the game. And I got Ira Matthews' take on this question, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. What was going through your head when Cleveland threw the ball instead of kicking a field goal?
Well, let me preface that a little bit by saying, when we came out at halftime, it was our choice, whether to receive or kick. So we had ticked off in the first half, and we had the first half because we lost the toss. So I came out in the second half, and I just felt that side of the field, I did not want to be there in the fourth quarter because this was such a tight game because it was going to be frozen. So I chose to defend rather than to receive, and they got the ball again. But that's what happened at the end of the game when they're driving. They got a good drive going, just like they had won many, many games. They called themselves the Cardiac Kids that year. They were driving down there, and it didn't surprise me that they went for the field goal because, it didn't just surprise me that they went for the pass because they had a kick blocked earlier going the same way. It was all ice, and they had a conventional kicker, and he couldn't get the ball off the ground. So the reason they threw that pass is they had gotten that far by doing those things. They were the Cardiac Kids. They'd throw the ball, 4th and 1, 4th and 10, 3rd and 15. Late in the game to win the game. So the fact that Mike Davis made a great, great play, caught the ball, and Mike Davis was probably not the best hands in our defensive secondary, but that day it didn't matter. I don't think you could feel his hands anyway. It was so cold. It was 39 below chill factor. My God, I don't know how those guys stood it out there. I had so many clothes on. If I'd fallen down, I couldn't have got up. But anyway, Mike made the interception. It was $1 million interception, and we were halfway back to Oakland by the time we all thawed out and realized that we were going to the championship game again on the road, again against a team that really had a great offense, and that was Dan Fouts and the Chargers.
As I mentioned earlier, you saw Stabler come off the bench to have a stellar career. As head coach, you watched Jim Plunkett come off the bench and redeem his career. How confident were you that Jim could step right in and help lead us to the Super Bowl?
Well, I didn't know that. I liked Jim. I liked him in college, followed him because he was from the Bay Area, went to Stanford, and I watched him in New England. I coached against him my 1 year in Buffalo when he was a rookie, and then watch him just get beat up, and then come to the Niners. And I thought he was through. I really did. We played him in preseason the year we picked him up in '78. And I watched him warm up. I said, boy, there's something wrong with his arm. I thought his arm was shot. Well, when they let him go, Ron Wolf, there's another name that started with the Raiders, ended up in the Hall of Fame, Ron Wolf. He brought him over, and I worked him out, and John Madden and Al Davis and Ron Wolf watched. I wanted to see if he physically was able to do the things that we would want. And there was nothing wrong with it physically. I mean, his arm was still strong. He could still move. He never was a real nimble-footed guy, but he was a big game kind of guy. Made big plays in big games, always did, all through college. And so I recommend we sign him. So we decided to sign him, and he just made him third string. No pressure. He didn't have to play the rest of the year. And then in '79, he came back, and then that's where we made the trade. Pastor and he were the quarterbacks, and in '80, and before the '80 season, that's when we made the trade. And by all rights, Jim should have probably been the starter, but we traded a starter for a starter. And when Pastor went down, Jim came, and we were just struggling to stay alive. But Jim rose, like I said, he made big plays in big games, and he certainly did for us. He gave us incredible stability at a position that was a little shaky.
The Raiders have had so many great running backs over the years. You coached your fair share with Marcus and Bo, to name a couple. But Kenny King had a solid career and helped propel the Raiders into their second Super Bowl and contributed big time in Super Bowl 15. Talk about Kenny King and his contributions to the Raiders as a running back.
Well, we got Kenny. I didn't know that much about him, but Ron Wolf and Al Davis certainly did. And what he had great speed, explosion, and so he was a running back. He was an explosive running back, which he proved that year, and gave us. We were looking for somebody like that, and so he gave us that kind of a back out of the backfield. We were able to throw the ball to him out of the backfield, as we did in the Super Bowl 15 when he caught the ball and went 70 or whatever yards for a touchdown. So that he just and he was a good guy. He was a tough kid, and then when we drafted, it's interesting that when we drafted Marcus, he didn't feel threatened at all because he just moved over and he played some fullback for us. So it was Marcus and he in the backfield at the same time. Marcus's rookie year, and but Kenny King was just a great explosive player.
So Rod Martin had a game for the ages in Super Bowl 15. Of course, Jim Plunkett got the MVP and he deserved it. But talk about Rod's performance in Super Bowl 15.
Well, there's no question in my mind they should have had a dual MVP. They did it with Dallas. They had two guys as MVPs because Jim had a great, almost a perfect day as a quarterback, and 3 interceptions in one game by one guy. That's huge.
Yeah.
And why can't you give one to him too as well? There's no rule to say you can't. So I thought whenever I introduce him, I always introduce him as a defensive player of the game, MVP. which he should have been. And Rod was a guy that we took who was a skinny guy out of USC, talented, could run, but we cut him, and then we brought him back. We cut him again, brought him back, and then he finally made our team as a special team player, and then became the All Pro and Pro Bowl player that he was, and helped us win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, he also recovered a fumble on a kick return to save the Raiders from a turnover and a possible momentum shift. So, yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah. How can you have any better game than that? I mean, that's incredible,
Yeah. Shortly after Super Bowl 15, Art Shell retired as a player, and in the 1989 season becomes the Raiders head coach. What kind of influence do you think you had on Art Shell's coaching approach?
Well, I think the organization, the practices, the coaches meetings, I tried to keep those disciplined and consistent so that the coaches would have, they could plan their day and their night and their week, and get the job done. And then Art knew his limitations, so he let the coaches coach, like the passing game. He knew the running game, but the passing game, but he got involved in that, but not as the one who decided, but just to get involved because he had to approve everything, obviously. But he was a Raider. He was also a family guy. He was a Raider. He grew up as a player, assistant coach, never left the Raiders. Eventually he did after but he was at Kansas City for a short stint. But I'd like to think I had a lot of influence on it, but mainly because we were good friends, and we knew how to win.
In 1982, the Raiders moved to L.A., but the team practiced in Oakland and then traveled to L.A. to play home games. How did you hold the team together in such a chaotic year?
Well, that was a funny time. You think about it. We had 8 straight weeks with no football, and we were 2-0 at the time, and the season was going to be shorter. We knew that, but we were able to squeeze it in, 11 games, and I think it was 11 games. Anyway, so we didn't make a big deal out of it. The fact that we were in a strange town, not a strange town, but a different town, and we didn't spend any time there. We would fly in the night before and play the game, and then fly back to Oakland right after the game. So we were only there one night a week. But every game that we played that year was an away game, and that was a tough part. I was coach of the year that year because of the incredible oddity of the season, and we made the playoffs, and we're by all rights we should have gone further than we did, but we did make the playoffs that year. We only lost one game during the season.
The very next year, the Raiders win their 3rd Super Bowl in 3 years with you at the helm. Al Davis was quoted as saying that it was the greatest Raider team of all time. How did it make you feel to hear Al call your '83 team the best ever?
Well, it makes me feel good. I mean, especially on national television. I got to talk to the President Reagan that year after the game, and we had a marvelous team. You look at the Pro Bowl, All Pros, Hall of Famers that we had. We had Mike Hayes. Mike Hayes kind of solidified our defense that year when we made the trade right at the end of the trade deadline and got him from New England. Then we had Mike Hayes and Lester Hayes. And we had Van McElroy, Mike Davis in the backfield, and 3 of them were Pro Bowl players that year. We had Ted Hendricks and Ron Martin, Pro Bowl players, Matt Millen, Pro Bowl player, linebacker. We had Howie Long, Greg Townsend. That was on defense. And then we had Ray Guy as a punter. We had Plunkett, Cliff Branch, Todd Christensen, Marcus. Oh yeah, I forgot Marcus out. so we should have won. Those are great players.
Yeah, that was a great team. And as you were just talking about, there were a lot of great defenders on that team. And you did mention Greg Townsend, who became the Raiders' all-time sack leader, and that was his rookie year in 1983. Did you know right away that Greg was a great player?
Well, no, I it's an interesting story there because at Long Beach, I had a friend when I was coaching at Long Beach City College, and we played junior college ball together at Fresno City College when we were both young teenagers. And he told me about it. He said, "Keep an eye on this guy." And he bet you, Dave, I remembered Long Beach City College. He said, "He's really got a motor," and blah, blah, blah. I told him this and that. So during the draft, we're getting ready for the draft, and Earl Leggett came in. He was our defensive line coach. He said, "Coach, can I show you somebody?" I said, "Yeah, it's okay." He said, "It's from Long Beach." He said, "Oh, yeah, I got to tell you about this guy that from Long Beach City wanted you to look at. I don't know what his name is." I said, "Well, this might be the guy." So sure enough, it was Greg Townsend, and we watched him on film, and said, "Wow, this guy, he's got all the moves." And, he was young, probably had no idea what he was doing, but he could make all those moves. And it just, we got him, and his motor never stopped. We saw that he was, he and Howie Long, their motors never stopped. If the guy ran into the locker room with a ball, they would chase him into the locker room. I'm sure they would.
Yeah. All right, so as we've been discussing, the Raiders have had a number of players and coaches move on and still contribute to the NFL. Players such as Willie Brown and Fred Biletnikoff became longtime coaches for the Raiders. Players like Matt Millen went on to be the Lions GM. Reggie McKenzie played for you in 1986 and also went on to become a GM for the Raiders, helping us build the 2016 team that broke our playoff drought. John Madden, Todd Christensen, and Howie Long, and yourself went on to broadcast. What is it about the Raiders coaches and players that drives them to continue to contribute to the NFL after their playing career or coaching career comes to an end?
I think it's just the love and passion for the game. That's the kind of players that we look for. And wherever I've been, when you have teams that have those types of players that respect the game, it makes your players better, makes your team better, makes your squad better, and then if that's what you choose as a career afterwards, you don't fall into it. You just kind of evolve into it, and they have done it, and they did a nice job. All of them have done a pretty good job with it.
Todd Christian talks about you trusting him, so much so that you called a play over the top to him in Super Bowl 18. It was incomplete, but he brings this up because it meant a lot to him that you trusted him. And trust is a word used a lot by your players when describing you. How much did being a player help your approach to coaching?
Oh, a lot, because I went right in from playing, and I really didn't feel I was ready to retire, but nobody seemed to want me anymore as a quarterback, so I got a chance to go into coaching. And I didn't know if I was going to like that or not, but I realized after a year or two that this was my passion, and if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I made one vow. I said, don't ever forget what it was like to be a player. Because some coaches, they go into coaching and forget what it's like to be a player, and all of a sudden they're the complete opposite as far as coaches are concerned. So you said, know your players. You don't have to go home and have dinner with them, but you have to have their respect, and you have to be disciplined, and you're going to have to say no to once in a while. And you got to realize that eventually, if you coach long enough, they're going to be gone and you're not. And that's the hardest thing when you have a player like that. I threw Fred Biletnikoff. This is an interesting story. I threw Fred Biletnikoff his first pass. I came back and coached him. And then when I became a head coach, I cut him. That's how long a career he had, and that was a complete cycle. And it was time for him to retire, and so we let him go. And then, but he did eventually come back and coach with the Raiders. So it's a huge business in a huge world, but a small little community of families. Every locker room is your family.
So the Marcus Allen and Al Davis dynamic has, left a lot of the Raider Nation scratching their head through the years. You can do your own research, Raider Nation, and find out what you can find out. But after all those years of Marcus Allen not being around the Raiders, how did it feel to see Marcus invited by Mark Davis to light Al's torch?
Well, I thought it was great. I think Marcus and Al clashed a little bit. It had nothing to do with football. I don't think it was just kind of a personality thing, and Marcus was huge in Los Angeles, and something got awry. I didn't get involved in that. He still was out. I didn't change the game plan any. And when we drafted Bo Jackson, when Bo came, Marcus accepted that with class and dignity. He didn't like it a lot because he knew he was going to have to share some of the limelight, but he stepped over and played fullback. In fact, that 93-yard run on Monday Night Football, if you look carefully next time you see it, the guy at fullback was Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
With the lead block going off tackle to the left side of the line. And, that's the kind of guy Marcus was. He's a fierce competitor, very classy guy. And he proved it when he went to Kansas City. He still had a lot of juice left and played well and got them, and they helped them get in the playoffs. So, but the thing, he and Al eventually, they eventually shook hands. And Al was, he was the kind of guy, you don't ever want to cross him with anything, but he will forgive and never forget, but he will forgive. So they had mended their fences before Al passed away, and Mark always loved Marcus. Mark Davis always loved Marcus Allen anyway, and so I thought it was very big of both of them, and also Carroll Davis to ask Marcus to light the torch.
With all the people that we've talked about tonight and how they've contributed to not only the team but the NFL as well, I'd like to get your take on the job Mark Davis, who went from being taped up by the players in the locker room to now becoming the owner of the Raiders.
Well, that I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, because he had not spent any time as far as learning the ins and outs of the front office and the coaching part or the scouting part or any of that. But he was always a Raider, and he knew all the players. And he grew up there. I remember when I was playing, he was a little 8-year-old running around the field during practice. He'd pick up the ball, and take off running with it. We'd have to wait for him to bring it back. We were on a low budget in those days. But he knew what he knew what he didn't know, and that was very valuable. He admitted, he said, "I know what I don't know, but I'll hire the people to do it." And so that's what he's done. Reggie McKenzie did a really good job for him, I thought, and so did Jack Del Rio. And but he always liked Gruden. And I think that was in the back of his mind, and when John became available, he leaped at the chance to bring him back. And unfortunately, the timing was bad for Jack Del Rio, but Mark was, that was the guy he wanted, and that was his choice. And we'll see what happens.
Now, you've seen a lot of great players, as we've been talking about. Jim Otto and Dave Dalby are two of them. My question to you is, how good is Rodney Hudson compared to Otto and Dave Dalby? Because in my mind, I think he's the best center that we've had since Jim Otto and Dave Dalby. What's your take on that?
Well, I agree with you there, because he is a good center. He directs the line well. He leads them. and that's what a center has to do. He's the middle guy making all the calls, and he does an excellent job there. So they're pretty solid there because of him. I think the guy that would have been right in that class also, unfortunately, he got hurt as a young lineman was Don Mosbar. We drafted him out of USC, and he took over when Dalby retired, and he would have been there for 15 years had he not hurt his eye and had to retire because of it. So you're right. I think Hudson is the best since. And that was, Dalby and Otto and Dalby. That was almost a 30-year span there that the two of them were the centers. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about Jim Otto being such an Iron Man. I mean, wow, the stories that you read, playing injured, multiple knee surgeries afterward. I mean, Mr. Raider, right? One of the original Raiders, as you say.
Yeah, we started out together in Santa Cruz, California, and he started out the first day of training camp. He was lined up with the linebackers, and then the next day he was with the centers. And he was he was not very heavy then. He was about 28 pounds, I think. And then he grew up from there, but he could snap he snapped the long ball, snapped the short ball, ran down on special teams. He was involved in everything. Of course, we had small squads there, so you had to play more. You had to do more than just your position. And you had to carry him off the field to get him off the field. Right until the very end. His last game was he limped on the field, made one block, and came off the field, and that was it. He retired after that. And he's still around. God bless. He's the toughest guy I've ever been around. He's the toughest guy. He's had more surgeries, but he is a tough man.
So Carr and Mariota, how do you see this QB situation unfolding this year and into next year?
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be good. Mariota is, he's been a little humbled by the fact that he was so highly drafted, and now all of a sudden he's gone. But he's going to a team that set a pretty good example of how the very first guy taken in the draft in 1971 ended up taking us to the Super Bowl in 80 and 83. So there's an example right there, looking at him in the face to emulate if something happens to Carr. So, he's maybe more comfortable back on the West Coast than he was in Tennessee. I don't know. I don't know the young man other than I thought he's a pretty classy guy, and I really thought he was really a good quarterback and a lot of talent.
So the Raider Nation is kind of split when it comes to Derek Carr because, we all want to see the Raiders win. But, of course, Derek Carr has gone through coaching change, offensive coordinator change, and the such. Where does Derek Carr sit, as far as some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time for the Raiders?
Well, I think he if you give him the protection, the offensive line, he was having a great year there when he broke his ankle a few years back, and he was on his way. They was being, he was being touted as MVP that year of the league. And then he never seemed to quite recover right away from that. But then also, every year there was a new coordinator. Every year there was a different head coach. Maybe the consistency now will help. Plus, the offensive line has got a lot better. And they got to, because he can, you keep the game, my feeling is, you keep the game tight and close. He can win it for you in the fourth quarter. He did that at Fresno State, and he's done that for the Raiders. But you got to protect any quarterback you have. They can't. They're not a lot of these Mahomes around that can throw with both hands and create magic on the field. Derek is very bright, and he loves the game. Loves his players, loves the game, and so we'll see what happens there. You can say all you want. He's got to do it. I mean, you can't just hope that he does. He's got to do it because he's got somebody right behind him now.
You had to deal with moving from city to city, So, what advice would you give John Gruden this year, moving from Oakland to Las Vegas?
Well, you don't change too much because first of all, you're not moving. You're going from one locker room to another locker room. It's just the other locker rooms in a different city, and the atmosphere around that other locker room is a lot different than it is in little Oakland, Alameda. Vegas is a different. But John, he was in television for 10 years, and so he's seen all the hoopla and that kind of stuff. He's coached in the Super Bowl. He shouldn't have any trouble with that. I mean, that's football. Football is one thing, doesn't change. You got a new stadium. It's still the same size as the old stadium as far as the field is concerned. You still have to get in the end zone, and you still have to play the game the way it was meant. We got to basically, they're not doing anything wrong. They just got to do a better job of it.
I'm a huge Bo Jackson fan, so much so that I have a YouTube channel called BoJack Fan ATX 1980 dedicated to him. So naturally, I would love to hear what you had to say about Bo. You were still the Raiders head coach when Bo had one of the greatest Monday Night Football game performances ever versus Seattle. Coming into that game, you were 13-4 on Monday Night Football, but the team had lost 5 straight games to the Seahawks, and we were on a 7-game losing streak that season. Talk about how Bo changed the dynamic of the team when he was done playing baseball.
Well, Bo came in from the day he came in. You could tell he was something special. He was just, in practice when he turned the corner and turned on his speed. He got everybody's attention, and he was 230 pounds and the fastest guy on the team, and that included probably at that time Cliff Branch. They would have been close because Cliff was a world class speed himself, but Cliff was only 170 pounds. But Bo was, he was just an incredible athlete. The things that he could do. He could throw the ball. He could run. He could kick. He could block what he wanted to, what he had to. It was just amazing what he could do. But I only had him for a short time, and he kept going back to baseball. And I always thought about if you just played football, what you could do with it. Because I had he and Marcus at the same time, and I said, man, could we have fun with those two guys back? He changed the game, all right, and he proved it on Monday Night Football. He was big in big games too, as well. Just coming from Auburn, where they were highly competitive, running backs were real tough guys in a tough league, and I think he was the most explosive guy that I've ever seen. And I only had him for a short time.
I mean, that's saying a lot, the most I've ever seen when you say that, because, yeah, you saw a lot of great players.
Yeah, I had some great, Marcus was the most complete running back I ever coached. He could do it all. Run, block, throw, catch, you name it. He could do it. And there were other great players in there that are in the Hall of Fame right now that could do the same thing. So there's been a lot of great running backs, but as far as pure explosion, I didn't see anybody close to Bo, like in Bo's class.
Can you talk a little bit about the time that Bo hit that home run for you in Seattle when you went to see him play baseball?
Oh, yeah, I was up in Seattle my first year, and they were in town, and I knew George Brett from El. He grew up in El Segundo. So I got my PR guy. I said, "Can you get us tickets?" Said, yeah. So we went down there. We went down there early so I could talk to Bo. So I'm talking to George, and I said, "Well, where's your roommate?" He was rooming with Bo at the time, and he said, "He's out there running his sprints today." And he used to run his sprints before the game, and then pretty soon somebody grabbed me and threw me up in the air, and it was Bo. I came down and we laughed and shared some moments. And Bo, I don't want to stay for the whole game. So if you're going to do anything, can you do it early? and sure, his first time up, he hit the top of the dome. They were playing inside that ball. It went and hit the top of the dome. I said, well, there's my home run, so he can go now. That was amazing. It was amazing. He had the power that he had, the strength, the speed that he had. When he hit the first little slow grounder and ran it out when he was at Kansas City for the Royals, everybody was in awe. They didn't realize he was that fast.
Yeah, he was something special. Must have been. Yeah, I can't imagine what it was like. But thank you for sharing that story.
Yep.
Now, you and Madden had long coaching career stints with the Raiders. Now, Gruden is in his second stint with the Raiders, and you certainly know how important stability is to a football team. So, how did you feel when Gruden came back with the 10-year contract?
Well, I was surprised it was 10 years. I've never seen anything like a 10-year contract, but I was surprised, but maybe that's what it took to get him to come. It just seemed a little extreme to me, but you can always give. But I don't know how the contract is structured. You don't know. It could be so many years with options. That part has never been exposed. So, it's a different world now. The money is so different now that you have coordinators that are making $1 million, $2 million, as opposed to head coaches who are making $5 million now, and like in Gruden's case, $10 million a year. Finally the coaches are making, big time money. That's pretty good. Players are making obscene money. That's pretty good too.
So let's talk a little bit about broadcasting. You've mentioned Gruden. We've mentioned Madden. Christensen made it into broadcasting. Plunkett is on the Silver and Black show. Of course, Bill King was legendary. And you yourself did it for 21 years, mostly with Greg Papa. What appealed to you about broadcasting?
Well, broadcasting to me was like being in the game, and that's the way I approached it. I had my depth chart. I filled it out with little notes on players, and then I would watch game film of the team that we're going to play, and then I put myself in the huddle when I was trying to call the game. Put myself on the field, on the sideline, in the huddle, and go and tell people what actually was going on that maybe they weren't seeing, because radio is different than TV. You have to broadcast what the people are looking at, not necessarily what everything that's going on, but what they're looking at. That's what you talk about. Radio, you can talk about anything you want, including what goes on the bench, what goes on on the far side of the field. There's an altercation or stuff like that. So I enjoyed that part, and it kept me involved in the game. That was my, I guess, my antidote for not being able to play anymore or coach anymore. 21 years with Greg Papa, and I thought we had a great team, the two of us, and we both loved the Raiders. And I was sorry to see it end, but all things have to come to an end. I knew that was going to eventually come to an end.
Did you have a relationship with Bill King?
Oh, yeah. I knew Bill a long time. I knew Bill real well, and he was a good friend of mine and a dear friend of mine. It was shocking when he went in for that knee surgery and had got a blood clot, and we lost him. He was one of the great, if not the great, radio broadcasters.
Holy Toledo, man! I love going back and listening to his calls. He was really, really great. And Greg too. Touchdown Raiders, but. Man, the Raiders, like I've said, we have just, as a team, an organization, the Raiders have just influenced the NFL so much throughout the years. It's a great part. It's a great thing to be a part of, and it's something that makes me as a fan proud.
Well, it's a fun group to be around, and I was reading an article, not too much to write about right now, but they did have a feature on uniforms. They were talking about the Raider uniform. The Raider uniform hasn't changed since 1964. And why should it? It's not broken.
Don't fix
everybody else tries, and it's still one of the classic uniforms in professional sports, and people identify with it.
Well, let's talk about something that is broken. and that's the Hall of Fame. You know, there are a lot of players that were on your team that should be in the Hall of Fame. Cliff, Lester, Plunkett, Christensen, and of course yourselves. Yourself. So, my question to you is: do you think it has anything to do with the move to LA against the NFL wishes as to why though yourself and those players have not made it in?
I don't know. I really don't know. I do know that it's kind of disgusting, some of it, because there is an aura in that room against the Raiders, and some of these young writers and voters. It's more East Coast, at least more towards the East Coast, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't think I've done anything wrong. But it is what it is. I don't have any control over that, and I just think that the whole thing, the system is broken. It has to be fixed because they're out of touch with reality. I mean, there's a lot of players that should be in there. You mentioned some from years past. How about Jack Tatum? And we're just talking about Raiders. There's other players from other teams, but they can. The modern day voter seems not to be so anxious to just get the latest guy that qualifies 5 years out of into retirement. Just get him in right now. They don't have to go in right away. And how about some other guys that paid their dues in a different era when the game was a little different? You got to realize how the game was then as opposed to how the game was now. And you look at John Unitas, he made it. His percentage of pass completions in lifetime was 48, 49%. Well, nowadays that would not be accepted. But you got to say that he wasn't a great quarterback. Yeah, he was. He won big games and did it the hard way. So anyway, I don't know. I can't criticize because I'm still keep my fingers crossed that in my lifetime I might be able to get that gold jacket.
Well, fingers crossed with you, Coach, because you deserve it. Now, you've had a great, great career, deserving of the Hall of Fame, as I just mentioned. But it all started in Sanger, California. Can you talk a little bit about what Sanger, California means to you?
Well, it's my hometown. I was raised in a little town outside of Sanger. I was raised on a farm, actually, outside of Sanger, and it was a little schoolhouse. We had 8. We had no kindergarten, so I started the first grade when I was 5 years old, and we had 8 grades and 3 teachers, and that's where I started my educational life. Granville Elementary School, and then I moved into the big city of Sanger. That at that time had about maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people, and spent my whole life there. Grew up there, went to junior high, high school, and all through college, returning to Sanger, and I loved the town. It was a small town. I knew everybody in town, all in the shops and everybody. They named the stadium after me, which I'm very proud of. I have a foundation there that I support to this day, and they just recently started their own Sports Hall of Fame. So, we had 3 guys that played in the National Football League from Sanger, myself and Larry Barnes, a punter from UCLA, and the other guy escapes me, but so we've had our share of athletes come out of the valley, and a lot of great athletes came out of the valley, San Joaquin Valley, and we're very proud of it. And Sanger's always had a good football team. Got a beautiful school, and it's just a very tight-knit community.
So last thing, Coach, because I appreciate your time, talk a little bit about the Santa Maria Parade. How you're excited to go there on September 26th if everything works out.
Oh, I love Santa Maria. I like it up there. It's just a beautiful area, beautiful part of California, and I'm looking forward to going up there and maybe getting some of that tri-tip that they're so popular for, barbecued up there, and meeting a lot of people there. They're good old Raider rooters, and some of the Raider alumni are there, and those are fun times because when you meet the fans like that, it's not a pretentious type of a meeting or an event. It's just a friendly type of event where people are there because they have a mutual admiration, and they love the Raiders and the silver and black.
Amen to that. I cannot wait to go there, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Well, I look forward to myself, and we'll have a Santa Maria cocktail, whatever that is. I just made that up.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming on the Raider Homer channel. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Raider Nation before I let you go?
No, just get ready. Get ready because the Raiders are coming to town, and Vegas is getting ready.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
All right, you got it. Talk to you.
All right, bye. Whoo! All right, Raider Nation. There you have it. Coach Tom Flores. Man, what a great story. The first Raider quarterback, an assistant coach, wins the Super Bowl with Madden in '76, wins 2 Super Bowls as head coach, goes on to be a broadcaster or a GM first and then a broadcaster. What a great story. What a great story. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. The chat line has gone. This thing has been frozen ever since I talked to the Mistress of the Black Hole. So I hope you all enjoyed the show. And as always, we will get out of here with a message from the Violator. What message do you have for the Raider Nation here and now and into the future?
Pretty simple, brother. Raider Nation, I'm speaking to you as an ambassador. Always stay true, stay loyal, keep the beliefs, and keep the faith. We will return.